Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
Black Business Report. I'm Donna Wilson. Starbucks sets fresh diversity goals. The company will mandate anti-bias training for executives and tie their compensation to increasing minority representation in its workforce. The coffee chain aims for at least 30% of its U.S. corporate employees and 40% of its retail and manufacturing employees to be identified as Black or
The company will mandate anti-bias training for executives.
Starbucks Chief Operating Officer Ron Brewer says the new diversity targets are set, but the diversity goal may take some work, especially since the Trump administration is discouraging companies with federal contracts from issuing specific diversity-related targets or conducting racial sensitivity training. Starbucks is a federal contractor. And that's your Bloomberg Black Business Report. I'm Donna Wilson.
Jill Schiller has been missing in action, and now we know why. Did you know that Jill Schiller, candidate for Hamilton County Treasurer, got away with a dangerous offense? Her friends and connections at Cincinnati City Hall turned their heads when she was racing through Cincinnati Public School Zone doing 52 in a 20-mile-an-hour zone. She could have killed a child. As a mother of 3, that's concerning. 25,000 children are injured each year because of speeding in a school zone. 100 children are killed in school zones each year by people like Schiller. Schiller should have served 5 days in jail as the law states, but being privileged kept her out while you, the public, would have gone to jail. Her friends and connections at City Hall only fined her $60, and they quickly destroyed the evidence the next day. We cannot trust Schiller with our school children. Should we trust her to protect and safeguard our tax dollars? Vote for Charlie Winburn for Hamilton County Treasurer. We can trust him to safeguard our tax dollars and our children.
Hey, for my friends of Charlie Winburn.
Are you interested in medical coding, but not sure where to start? And scared of wasting time and resources? Let me help you with the right steps to become a certified, marketable medical coder. Learn more at bit.ly/5stepscoder.
You're listening to the Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Now let's get back to the flow.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome back. Nathan Ivey with you. Hey, let me make sure this morning that our audio stream is sounding good. Just give me a thumbs up if we're sounding good this morning. Many things to discuss. This should be a very, very interesting show. There's a lot of hot topics, including some information, some news that broke about Ice Cube working with the Trump administration. I've seen a lot of people, a lot of my Facebook friends, a lot of people on social media commenting about it. I certainly have a very strong opinion about it, which I want to share with you this morning. We got to talk about that. Plus, the entirety of the Kenneth Walker interview has now been released. Hey, good morning to you, family. Welcome to the show. Now, the entirety of the the Kenneth Walker interview has been released. I saw all of it just yesterday, and I'll be honest with you, I believe the brother even more now. Now, if you missed it yesterday, I spent some time talking about 3 reasons why I believe Kenneth Walker, and that was just based upon what had happened before me seeing the video. Since I've seen the video, I believe the brother even more now. He makes a very compelling interview. I don't think if you're fair at all, you're going to walk away from that thinking that Daniel Cameron served justice as it relates to Breonna Taylor. Hey, listen, folks, please take a second to like and share today's show. Your shares mean everything. They mean everything. Please share the gospel of flow this morning. Good morning to you. Hope everybody is doing well. You've got my number, 513-873-7134 this morning if you want to share your thoughts. All right, many things to discuss, as I said already, and I want to get straight into it. What's up with my Spreaker family? They're saying pump up the volume on Spreaker. I'm not sure what's going on with that. We were all good until right before the show started broadcasting. I think that people I think my folks on YouTube and also on Facebook are having no issues. If you're on Facebook, YouTube, let me know. Give me a thumbs up or an indication that the volume is good. That's very, very interesting. Like I double checked everything this morning as usual, and we were rolling good right up until I broke the microphone. So I cracked the mic. So if that continues, I do have some strategies I can use. One of which is to cut that audio feed and then restart it, which I'm more than willing to do. I want to make sure my Spreaker family can be a part of the show. If that happens, though, and we have any issues, it's good to know you can always check us out on YouTube and Facebook. All right. So I'll monitor that. 513-873-7134. Yeah, that is so weird, man. That is so weird. I don't know. We must discuss. Also, so if you go back to last Friday's show, on last Friday's show, we got a call from Charmaine McGuffey, who is the Democrat candidate in the Hamilton County Sheriff's race. It's a very hotly contested race between herself and Bruce Hoffbauer. And she called into the show because there were some negative ads that were put out by the Bruce Hoffbauer campaign about her. And in these ads, there was a black man, someone who she was a former colleague of hers. She had worked with him. Daryl writes, Ice Cube is getting rightfully dragged. Yeah, I don't know. YouTube is a little staticky. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is, family. I got a couple tactics I can use, and we can try to see what happens. YouTube it is. Okay, you got to do what you got to do. I don't know what happened with that. I'm going to cut that audio feed and then restart it mid-show. Okay, so just give me a second. I'll get to that. So we got a call from Charmaine McGuffey. And that was on Friday, and she gave us her side of the story. She said this man, Earl Price, she had worked with him, and among other things, had been to her home, to parties and all kind of stuff like that, never had a problem with him. And now, boom, here we are in the home stretch. Yeah, hopping over from Spreaker. Okay, great. Thank you so much. Drop Cube is more like it. We'll get to all of this. I know there's a lot of strong opinions about it, but let me set the table here, family. So she said that among other things, this man just kind of came. Here it is in the home stretch of the election. The election is less than a month away. And her former colleagues comes out and is doing, campaign ads for her opponent. She told us the whole story. She said he was talking about lies, boom, 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 the whole 9 yards, right? And one of the things that he allegedly, is that she struck him or something doing a training exercise, which I still find to be very, very hilarious. So as I said to Charmaine McGuffey, I'm going to reach out to Earl Price to see if I can get him on the show. I want to hear both sides of it. We all about that sizzle on the Nathan Ivey Show. This show is about substance, obviously, but sizzle, we won't shy from it. I did get a return phone call from Earl, or he reached out to me yesterday, and it was quite interesting. He says that, he wants to come onto the show. And I said, cool. So he's scheduled to come on the show today between 9 and 9:30 a.m. All right. So we'll hear the Earl Price side of the story. And I think that should be very, very interesting. Until we get there, I want to talk about Ice Cube. From arrest the president to the platinum Trump. And this is the problem as I see it. Like, you might not see it this way. That's completely okay. But this is the problem as I see it. Okay. So if you don't know the latest information, Katrina Pearson, who runs communication and campaign issues for the Donald Trump administration, she put out a message on social media thanking Ice Cube for his work in helping the Donald Trump Platinum Plan. Now, if you don't know what the Platinum Plan is, the Platinum Plan is Donald Trump's so-called contract with America. He just put this out within the last, 2 weeks, I think it was. And we spent a couple days going through it, right? And, I told you my thoughts, which I'll reiterate, here on the show. But I told you my thoughts about it, right? And, this is his plan for Black America if he should get reelected, right? He wants to do a lot of big things. And it's a plan that's organic, so it's evolving. They're adding things, taking things away, and things like that, as any plan should be if it's a really good plan, right? So as soon as that hit, man, people start hitting Twitter. They start hitting Facebook. People had strong opinions. People calling Ice Cube a coon. Now, wait, that's America's Most Wanted right there. You can't, wait, no, we ain't doing that, are we? What? Celebrities came out, start supporting Ice Cube, like Tariq Nasheed. I read his comments this morning. A lot of folks know Tariq Nasheed. Basically, he seemed to come across like he was defending Ice Cube this morning. A lot of my Facebook friends was going super hard. Here's one of my Facebook friends, Damon George writes, y'all will ask for a kiss just in case, but don't want a backup plan just in case Orangey gets back in office. I haven't heard enough to make me angry with Ice Cube yet. He ain't wearing no MAGA hat or sprouting that MAGA-ish. His stance is to make both parties work for our votes. I think we have been very negligent in making politicians work for our votes. His way may not be my way to move us forward, but I still believe he's about moving us forward until I'm shown differently. Okay. It sounds like chess. Not everyone plays. I just love that chess versus checkers analogy. People love to use that. I think they overuse it. So clearly he was like, hey, listen, I'm on the fence. I'm not a Trumpster. And there's a meme out there. Somebody put in a friends page. I think it was Mason Mahler of Ice Cube. And he had a MAGA hat on. He got a MAGA hat on. And apparently it rose to the level where Cube himself had to get involved, or he felt like he had to get involved and kind of set the record straight. And that's a part of today's cover art. I'll read it to you directly from the cover. He wrote, facts. I put out the CWBA, that's the contract with Black America. Both parties contacted me. Dem said we'll address the CWBA after the election. Trump campaign made some adjustments to their plan after talking to us about the CWBA. He went on to say an hour later, every side is the dark side for us in America. They're all the same until something changed for us. They all lie and they all cheat, but we can't afford not to negotiate with whomever it is in power to our condition in this country will never change. Our justice is bipartisan. Now, what do you think about that opening statement there? It's really a couple of tweets from Ice Cube. What do you think about that? Let it marinate for a second. Does it ring to be true? Does it make sense? Does it make sense? Somebody writes, is Earl Price related to Pac-Man Jones? I don't know. Maybe he is. Y'all wrong. I read that Frosty Rucker is doing like some campaigning for Joe Dieters, and these brothers can do what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? They can do what they want to do. That's how they feel. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that feed on Spreaker, and I'm gonna reconnect it here in just a couple of minutes, and hopefully you'll be able to, get the audio. Again, folks, I do my due diligence. I double checked it several times before we went live today, and was actually looking at the monitor, and everything was registering good. Sometimes things happen. Tiff writes, turn up the volume on Spreaker so it sounds like they can hear, but it wasn't loud enough. I've cut that feed. I'll reconnect it here in just a couple of minutes, Tiff, for folks. And again, I know I got a lot of folks. That's the core of my audience right there that listen on that audio feed. So it's very, very important to me. But I want to set this table straight. So what do you think about what Ice Cube said? He's like, our justice is bipartisan, which I agree with. If you're looking at it from a black agenda perspective, Democrats, Republicans, makes no difference. Whoever is going to deliver equity, policy, intangibles. That's been my stance from day one. That's my stance this morning, because that's how I feel. That's genuine. Like, I genuinely feel that way. And you remember, if you go back to when Trump was first elected, you had black folks like Steve Harvey and Steve Harvey that were going over to Trump Tower. Remember they had the video feed of the golden elevators and you could see the celebrities and folks that was going upstairs. And I made a joke about it that like Steve Harvey, went upstairs, he went up the golden elevators, and then Trump was regurgitating parasitic symbiotes that would take over the host body and turn them into Trump zombies. I mean, we got to have fun with this, right? I don't know if it's true or not, but Steve Harvey's never been the same. He's never been the same since he went up into Trump Tower. Something happened up there. But so it was a big deal. Kanye went up there. We know Kanye's willing to work with Trump, things like that. And I stand by what I said. Like, if you get an invitation to the White House, and this was back then, but I still kind of feel the same way. I think we know more about Trump and how he feels about Black America after 4 years in office. Okay, it's not like we're working with a blank slate here. He's got 3.5, 4 years of showing us what he thinks about us. So we can't act like we don't know what we're dealing with. It's not the same. Like if your opinion has changed about Trump and working with Trump, well, it's based upon evidence. It's based upon the last 4 years. So let me just say that. But generally speaking, and even in this case, I feel like if you get a chance to go to the White House and speak truth to power, then just don't punk out John Gray. Don't punk out John Gray. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to go to the White House and you're going to sit, don't just become a photo op. Because now you're just like a little monkey on a string, little dancing monkey, right? Dancing for quarters for massa on the street corners of America. And we've seen that far too often with these black pastors. Oh, they cheesy. They smiling hard, super hard with Trump. We don't need you smiling with Trump in the Oval Office. I don't give a damn about that. I don't care about you taking pictures with this fool. Now, if you're going to go to the White House and speak your mind on some Eartha Kitt's type ish, I'm all for it. If you get invited to the White House, then you need to take the attitude and the strength of Eartha Kitt. Remember Eartha Kitt? She went to the White House. She got blackballed, but she kept it real. She's one of the first people to be out there on some Black Lives Matter stuff, way before anybody ever said Black Lives Matter. Lady Bird Johnson asked her to go to a polite ladies' luncheon during the Vietnam War and talk about what's happening in the ghetto, and she kept it Rizzo with her. 100. To the point where then she was put on like a CIA watch list, and the government and Lyndon B. Johnson tried their best to destroy her career. She didn't work in the United States for decades. So if you're willing to do that when you go to the White House, I'm for it. But you're just going to be like a little dancing monkey, ding, 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 dancing around with little symbols on your hands. Dance. We don't need that. We don't need that. And we've seen that way too much, John Gray and others. We've seen that way too much, Kanye and others. Is it fair to put Ice Cube on that list? Here's my biggest problem with Ice Cube, is the timing of it. It's the timing of it. Listen, if you're going to work with the Democrats, the Republicans, the independents, if you're going to work with whoever to try to fashion a black agenda, cool. But we're less than a month away from the election. Y'all not having no substantive conversation. All y'all doing is trading bullet points. That's all they was doing. They was trading bullet points. There was no substantive conversation because there's no time for it. Here's the other problem I have with it. The timing. I feel like Ice Cube has allowed himself to be a dancing monkey for Trump. I feel like Ice Cube has allowed himself to be a prop in the Trump re-election campaign with no real equity, policy, intangibles. Now, I could be wrong about this, and maybe something to come out in the next couple of weeks or something like that, and we'll find out more about what this trade-off is. But, how do you go from Arrest the President, which, if you don't know, that's a track which is pretty dope, actually. I like the track. It was written by Ice Cube, performed by Ice Cube it was published back in 2018, just 2 years ago. Arrest the President. This nigga is Russian intelligence, is how it goes. By Ice Cube. He goes on this down. He goes down this whole list about the criminal enterprise of Donald Trump to now you allow yourself to be a media points for the platinum plan? A Negro, make that make sense to me. I don't get it. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in the days to follow, we'll find out that there's been a trade-off But what did we get out of this? What did Ice Cube get out of this? What did Black America get out of this? What Trump got, and it's the reason why Katrina Pearson, who's a media surrogate and campaign advisor for Donald Trump, the reason why she ran out there to let everybody know about, Ice Cube working with Trump is because it benefits them. Oh yeah, we working with Ice Cube, Mr. NWA, Mr. KKK America. Oh, they loved it. But what did Ice Cube get? What did we get out of that? Not a damn thing is what we got out of it. I feel like Ice Cube allowed himself to get played like a chump on this one. You know what I'm saying? In terms of that whole analogy, chess, not checkers, the Trump administration is playing chess. Ice Cube appears to have been playing checkers. Tell me I'm wrong. 513-873-7134. I got no problem working with anybody that wants to work to, for the benefit of our family. I got no problem with it. I'm with it. I'm with it, about it. But what? So now Trump, again, this is campaign season. This ain't right-loss season. The election is 3 weeks away. They're not going to be sitting down talking, having no comprehensive conversation. This is more bait and switch politics from the Donald Trump administration. And I feel like Ice Cube should have been smarter than to sit down and do this. This is straight up identity politics. This is straight up bait and switch politics. Here's how I feel about the platinum plan. I said it weeks ago. I'll say it again. Donald Trump wants to increase wealth and yada, 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 and all this kind of stuff. Why haven't you done it? Why hasn't this been a priority? If you care so much about black wealth building and black people and you got an agenda, then why do you spend so much time arguing against and trying to destroy Obamacare? Why didn't you spend more of that time trying to build your platinum plan? I'll tell you why. Because it's BS. It's nothing more than a carrot that they want to dangle in the face of black voters. And I feel like Ice Cube was a patsy in this. That's just me. You know me, I take strong opinions. But what do you think? 513-873-7134. That's just my opinion. I don't have to be right. I don't have to be wrong. But I'm just telling you, that's how I feel about it. Number one, how you going to come out with a platinum plan a month and a half before the election? You've been in office for 3 years. Never heard about this plan. You've been running around here telling lies about how you've been working with black folks and you're the best president ever, and never heard anything about a plan, never saw a plan, no specific policies whatsoever. But as soon as we get to a month before the election, all of a sudden you got a plan. Again, is it just me? Is it? I don't get it. Can't you see that? And we got to be more sophisticated as black voters than just be like, well, finally somebody want to work with us. Man, knock it off. Timing means everything. Donald Trump ain't sincere. He's only as sincere as it will help him. Because like I said, look at how he spent his time. He spent his time running around lying about how he's the best president ever. Running around, running on the black man's record, but you want to deny the accomplishments of the black man that preceded you. And then convince black voters that you're the best president for black people since Abraham Lincoln. Lying about what you've done for HBCUs. These are all well-documented lies. As I've read, and it's been updated, I read the platinum plan within the last 12 hours. As I've read it, okay, sounds good. I like the way this looks on paper, but it just looks like some ish on paper because I've seen no real energy behind it. None whatsoever. You care about black people so much, but you lied to black people about the impact of COVID-19. The real question should be, how many black millionaires has he made in his first term? I don't know. I don't have those numbers. Do you have those numbers? So to Ice Cube, and again, I have some other issues with it, and I'll share with you as we get deeper into the show. But to Ice Cube, man, you got to be more sophisticated than that. But let me go to the phones here. Hey, good morning and welcome to the show. Hey, I'm doing great. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, this is Michael. I just wanted to give a call. You know, this Ice Cube thing got, it's got Black America up in arms. But I want to go back to what you were saying about Eartha Kitt. And this is, I think, is important because Eartha Kitt, Martin Luther King, people who black people press under basically a Democratic leadership and, Lyndon Baines Johnson. And I want to fast forward to Ice Cube. granted what he put out, I think Ice Cube is trying to step in an arena maybe he isn't ready for yet, to say the least. But I think what really hurts me as a black man in America is that we've been in a 400-year abusive relationship with Democrats and Republicans. And we still miss the target when it comes to economic power. We, as black people, make $1.9 trillion a year. We spend. Asians have the lowest voter turnout and one of the largest super PACs in the political field. So I always say, okay, we vote for Joe, we vote for Obama, but where is our money where we can take our man or woman and say, hey, dude, when our man or woman gets into office, this is how we gonna spend these dollars. But as long as we still out there buying Mercedes, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, overspending, Ruth Chris, it don't make a difference, because what black people are truly upset about, and this is my opinion, especially with Donald Trump, is that he finally said it's okay to tell black folks you don't like them. And we never had that in our lifetime because we always thought we were included. But this election is going to show that white folks don't love us, Republican or Democrat, and we have to figure out a way to bring our own success in our community. Just like people like yourself stepping off and doing these things. If we don't pick our own bootstraps up, how can we ever be successful? So I ain't mad at you. I give him an A for effort, a D for determined, but somebody has to have an agenda. And Marcus Garvey had one, Elijah Muhammad had one. I mean, why do we get upset? Because, and I'm sure you've read Message to the Black Man before. Have you ever read that book before?
Yes, I have.
So remember in the part with Message to the Black Man where Elijah Muhammad said he was having a conversation with the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan about how they could live next to each other because they both understood who they are and how they felt about each other. That's what black people don't want to accept how the other group feels. We think because we love somebody, they should love us back. And when our friends and girlfriends are in bad relationships, and we say, hey, you should leave this guy, he a bum. Well, America has been whooping us in the head for 400 years. So that should be a wake-up call that it's time to get out of this relationship. It's a bad one. Mm-hmm. So that's my piece, brother. I appreciate everything you're doing out there in the world. Continue to bring the news to us. And one love, okay?
One love, Mike. Appreciate the flows. Listen, we are now back up on Spreaker, and I'm looking at the feed right now. Looks like we got good audio. So again, my apologies. Not sure what that is. So you want to jump back over there and check that? Feel free to do so. So Michael says that he appreciate, and I appreciate anybody coming up with an agenda. Now here's another issue I got it. Listen, if we claim that we all about equity, policy, intangibles, and agendas, then we got to do our homework as black people to understand what's going on outside of just Cincinnati. Ice Cube has not brought us the first black agenda. That's kind of getting to me. You know what I'm saying? I know he's the biggest celebrity to talk about a black agenda, but you got several organizations. Many of them are black female-led organizations that have created black agendas and have been working on national plans for years. This ain't new. So when I hear people say we need, it's the first time I watched a clip of the Red Table Talk, the Red Table Talks, RTT as they call it, with Jada's cheating ass wife, and I'm sorry, with Will's cheating ass wife, and you can't disagree. Keeping it real. And they had Ice Cube on most recently, and I saw the promo, and the promo kind of stuck with me because she was like, "Finally, somebody did it," and I'm thinking, you don't know about the Black Pact? You don't know about the Black Economic Alliance? You don't know about the Black Futures Lab? These folks have been out here for years creating national agendas, working in our community. I think it's a tad bit ignorant and disrespectful to just overstep the work that these primarily black female-led organizations have done just because Ice Cube got a big celebrity. I'm just saying, we got to know what's going on. This ain't new. Now, I'm 100% about it. I like it. It's great. You know what I'm saying? I love an agenda. I love the idea of it. I'm with it, but I'm not going to forget that there's people out there that's been in that space for 2.5, 3 election cycles on our behalf. We got to know what time it is and put the research into these things that we claim that we care about, because we might be overlooking some good work. There might be some movements out there that are already on point. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, I hear that a lot. I've seen a lot on social media. Finally, we need an agenda. We've had several agendas. There's people out there doing it right now. We just can't overlook them because they're not as big as a celebrity. I think I said it already. So that's my point when it comes to the whole we need it. We've had it. We've had it. I mean, I went through a history of black agendas here on the show, prepared to do it again this morning. We've had it. And you know what's interesting, when you look at the history of black agendas in this country, and we did it live on the air about maybe, it was whenever the week that Ice Cube came out with his agenda, his contract with America, is that you can tell that not enough has changed for black folks, right, in this country. Because if you compare agendas, I mean, going back 40 years, 60 years, we asking for the same stuff in 2020. It's very sad on some levels. And part of that is the overwhelming ignorance, the lack of really knowing what's going on, the lack of cohesiveness. It's like we shoot ourselves in the foot when it comes to our own collective voting power, in my opinion. Hey, listen, please take a second to like and share today's show. Even if it's in a Facebook group or somewhere that you think has already been shared, please share it again. It's the multiplier effect. I want to make sure that people understand that where we are. The Nathan Ivey Show is Cincinnati's first daily digital talk show that focuses on the black community. We talk about black people, black politics, black pleasure, weekdays at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, powered by Sin Digital Media. Their mission is simple: amplify black voices. Real simple. Now, if that's something you feel like you can jive with and get down with, please like and share and go over to our Facebook page and check out some podcasts. I got some great feedback over the last, I'd say, 2 or 3 days about our podcast. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. We're just getting started. Appreciate you. But what do you think? What do you think? Let's go back to the phones and welcome in our next guest, our next caller. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivey, and all the beautiful people in the chop shop and the greater Cincinnati area. This is your Westside Jump Car 52. How are you, son?
I'm doing great, man. You just sound extremely, extremely low.
Wait, hold on.
Okay, we can do that.
What about now?
Say it again now.
What about now?
Still sounds kind of low.
It must be on your end, Mr. Ivey, because
Yeah.
I hook up and nothing changed.
Yeah, I don't know.
If you want me to, I can hang up or
Yeah,
whatever.
let's do that. I'll tell you what, hang up and call me right back and we'll try it.
Okay.
Yeah. People on Spreaker saying that the audio is still very, very low. My apologies, folks. I'm not sure what it is. I'm live and in the moment right now, so there's only so much I can do while I'm live right now. But yes, if you're having some issues with that when you call in, then I will definitely say something to you about it. Let me see. Let me get back here. Samantha writes, good morning, all. She is on YouTube. Brenda writes, good morning. K.R. Mitchell writes, good morning. Daryl writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Good morning to you, Daryl. Ballhead writes, good morning. Good morning to you. Glenn writes, Facebook is cool, but Spreaker went silent. Yes, it did, but we're back up now. And I think some folks are still saying they're having some issues. Let me make sure that he is plugged all the way in. Hey, Drop, you back?
Yeah, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sounds better.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, you on your job, Mr. Ivey. And again, good morning. One real quick question. Are you listening to the show right now? Because I think I can hear me or something in the background. Yeah, I have you on YouTube.
Okay, yeah, you might want to turn that down. It's a little distracting.
Can you hear it now?
No, I do not. No, I do not.
Okay. All right. Okay. I'm sorry to cause problems this morning because ain't nothing worse than bad audio on a podcast. Okay, Mr. Ivey. The reason I called was great topic today with Ice Cube. Now, Mr. Ivey, you know Mr. O'Shea Jackson knew he was going to get dragged. He knew it. Ice Cube is a professional Negro, just like Jay-Z, just like LeBron James. These black men are looking
way beyond 2020. Okay, just like you mentioned earlier about this is chess, it's not checkers. And black people have been treated to a chess game by the desperate Democrat Party for so long that whenever anyone does the thing like Ice Cube is doing, people say, oh, wow, finally somebody did it. But what they're really saying is, Mr. Ivey, is that the Republicans will listen. The desperate Democrats been listening to these people for years, like you said, for almost 50 years, and they don't do anything. And a perfect example of the arrogance of the Democrat Party to have the audacity to say negative and bad things about Ice Cube was a couple of days ago. Nancy Pelosi was on CNN with Wolf Blitzer discussing the Corona relief package. And Wolf Blitzer was quoting other Democrats in Nancy Pelosi's caucus. One was Andrew Yang, and the other one was, I forgot his name. But anyway, I'll think of it. And they were telling Nancy, take the $1.8 trillion deal and stop playing around with people's lives. Nancy Pelosi goes off on Wolf Blitzer, and basically she said, don't tell me how to take care of those people, my people. So the reason I bring this up, Mr. Ivey, is because the Democrat Party have just been giving lip service to the black community for all these years. And people like Ice Cube, Jay-Z, LeBron James, all these professionals, as I call them, Negroes, they are looking beyond the Democrat agenda. And again, Mr. Ivey, the contract with Black America is exactly what I've been saying this entire election cycle. 2020 is going to be a turning point for the Black Democrat electorate. Because like you said earlier, Mr. Ivey, the timing of this, there's almost, I think it's like 19 days until election day. And you wonder, why does this story come out now? Well, Mr. Ivey, there are other stories that are coming out now. And that is the emergence of groups that are led by Candace Owens and other Black, not Democrats, who are speaking out in huge numbers. The visuals are there. Donald Trump is there listening. He is offering agenda items to certain specific Black groups who were former Democrats or just Black people who are looking for a different choice besides the Democrat Party. They are now starting to see that Donald Trump, this so-called Republican, this non-politician, this businessman, is actually listening and willing to make adjustments. You read it in Ice Cube's post. He said the Democrats told him to kick rocks until after the election.
That's not what he said. That's not what he said. That's not what he said. They didn't say anything about kicking rocks. That's not the quote. Yeah, you're reading into it. That's not what he said. What he said is he contacted both parties, and the Dems said that we'll address the CWBA after the election. That's what he said.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry for adding a little extra salt.
Yeah, you were editorializing, but I understand. That's why I'm here. Can I ask you a couple questions real quick? You don't mind, do you? This is a conversation. So when you say professional Negro, can you give me a succinct definition, just so I know, so I have a working mind frame when you say that in the future? What does that mean, professional Negro? Can you define that?
Okay, what that means is these Black men who are athletes or entertainers are no longer just that. They are doing things that was normally done by other people, like usually white Jewish lawyers who are their managers and accountants. And these Black athletes and entertainers were being dragged and almost robbed by these people. So people like Ice Cube, Jay-Z, who's the other one? I mean, I can go down the line. Dr. Dre, I mean, Rick Ross. I mean, I could, Master P. All these young men grew up in that era of artists and athletes getting ripped off.
Okay.
So these young men, they look beyond politics and focus on money. And that's what I mean when I say these are professional Negroes. And if you really want to talk about non-professional Negroes, those are the Negroes who are in the hood running these drug operations, running these little side hustle businesses as if they were actually managers or CEOs.
Okay, I got it.
Their goal is about the money.
Okay, I got it. It's just an issue saying it don't make no damn sense. I got it. Let me ask you.
I know you always, but somebody is going to hear that and it's going to spark them to start thinking. But
that's scary.
That's I'm ready to hang up now, Mr. Ivey.
Oh, you hanging up?
Just a couple of things before I go. I always go on the internet and listen to urban radio that's free. And one of the stations that I listen to out of Arkansas, when I listen to the Breakfast Club in the morning, before I turn on the Nathan Ivey Show, Mr. Ivey, the Trump campaign. This is an official ad endorsed by Donald Trump. You got to hear it, Mr. Ivey. You haven't heard an ad like this before coming from a Republican at this point in the election. So the Trump campaign, and it's about the Platinum Plan, and it's about economics. So I'm pretty sure they're going to be running it somewhere in your market in Cincinnati because they're running this ad on Black Urban Radio. And you said it yourself. It don't matter that the marketing department, they're taking that money. So
in most cases,
Donald Trump ads are up on Black Urban Radio with 19 days to go. And these are not super PAC ads. These are approved by Donald J. Trump.
Right.
That's all I got, Mr. Ivey.
Well, before you run, though, before you run, hold on, Drop.
Somebody told you.
You must not even be listening. Hey, Drop, before you run. I mean, listen, do you agree with this statement that politicians spend time talking about the things they care the most about?
No, politicians spend most time talking about things that can get them votes.
They can get them votes. So it's just about votes. It's not about the impact of the policies to those particular people. It's just about votes.
Well, yeah, to their main constituent, their base.
Yeah, my biggest question. Yeah, I mean, you're a Black Republican. You voted for Trump. You're going to vote for him again if you haven't already. My biggest problem with his Platinum Plan is, where has it been? You've been in office for 3.5 years. If he really cared about these things and he really wanted Black people to be on his side and vote for him, nothing will get somebody to vote for you more than actions that benefit you. Because all I'm seeing is a whole bunch of bullet points and rhetoric right now.
But Mr. Ivey, I come on your show and I point out the actions that you claim are not taking place.
I haven't heard it.
How many times have I pointed out audio clips or videos or articles referring to Donald Trump and his Black agenda or Black not Democrat?
Never. I've never heard you talk about Donald Trump and his Black agenda until most recently with the Platinum Plan. And that's because Donald Trump wasn't talking directly to Black people until it got to the 11th hour. And he's looking at the poll numbers. He's like, ooh, I need them now. So he wants to run out with the Platinum Plan. Don't you see that?
Okay. But Mr. Ivey, first of all, Black voters are not part of the Republican base. Black voters are part of the Democrat base. And the Democratic Party has been okay with letting 5 to 8% kind of go in between Republican or independent candidates during the presidential election.
Yeah.
They're good with that.
Not really the question.
Okay?
Now you're getting away from the question. Well, the question is, like, why should we believe this in the 11th hour? Listen, I don't want to hold you too long because I want to get some other folks on, but
it's your show.
Yeah.
As long as you let me talk, I'm talking.
Okay, cool. But like I said, you're a Black Republican, so I value that perspective. Like I said, for me, where was all of this Platinum Plan and you want to build back Black wealth? Why weren't you doing this over the first 3 years of your time in office? So now you want us to believe that as a second term president, then now all of a sudden you're gonna open up the purse strings and do all this stuff for black folks. I don't know. I think they're dangling a carrot in the last 3 weeks of the election, desperately hoping to get black folks to vote for him and or to not vote for Joe Biden. And that's why I say Ice Cube is allowing himself to be a dancing monkey in the Trump circus, because Katrina Pearson comes out. I see what the Trump administration gets. They get a lot. They get a chance to connect themselves with a black sort of activist, entertainment, entrepreneurial icon, Ice Cube. But what is Ice Cube getting out of this, and what is Black America getting out of this? Nothing.
First of all, if the tree falls in the forest and there's no one around, it still makes a sound. So the fact that you don't really go into the Republican force that much, people tell you what's going on there, but you really don't believe it because you can't see the forest from the tree. But I'm telling you, Mr. Ivey, and I've been telling you since the presidential campaign began, I will call your show, and I'm telling you, you even talked about the black pastors that go and talk to Donald Trump. You talked about
and punk out and take photo out. It becomes a photo op and nothing of any substance.
But Mr. Ivey, he has been reaching out ever since he was elected, because again, he knows that in order to get more than the normal 5 to 8%, he had to offer more than what the previous Republicans offered. Okay? Because Donald Trump and the people who run his campaign, they have a long relationship with the black community, Mr. Ivey. Just ask Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and their relationship with Donald Trump. So when you say, oh, I ain't seeing none of these policies, why he doing it now? Why he holding out a carrot? First of all, that is what he's supposed to do. He is the president running for re-election, and he's trying to get votes. This is what he's supposed to do.
Say no more. Say no more. Say no more. I've heard all I need to hear. You're right. This is nothing more than a ploy to dangle the carrot in front of black voters and try to get votes. We agree, brother. Have a great day.
Okay, all right. Thank you for giving me time, Mr. Ivey.
Absolutely.
And like I said, I can't wait to hear the rest of the show because I know it's gonna be off the floor.
We'll see.
Softball 52. Peace.
Appreciate you. We'll see. Appreciate it. Say no more. I get it. We agree. Drop and I agree on something when it comes to black voters and Trump. This is nothing more than an 11th hour election year scheme to try to get votes, because Donald Trump's been in office for 3.5 years. If he really believed in his platinum plan and cared about, we can't be seduced just because somebody say they got a plan. It's got to be their record as well. And at this point, we got 3.5 years to judge a record. I ain't seen it. Have you? Have you seen it? All of a sudden, it's election time, and Donald Trump, as we know, is a quid pro quo kind of person who'll do and say whatever it takes to try to stay in power. He'll work with the Russians. You know what I'm saying? He'll work with Ukraine to try to get there on Joe Biden. So coming up with some platinum plan for black America, oh, that's nothing. That's nothing. This man was willing to work with the Russians to become the president. Do you think it's beneath him to just trot out some bullet points? Because that's all it really is. My biggest problem, you missed it, family. Let me circle back around here. Number one, good morning to you. Please like and in particular share today's show. Okay, if you want to get on board with the mission to build independent black voices, then please share today's show. That's one thing that you can do on a daily basis, so we can spread the gospel of flow this morning, right? Let the world know there are some people that's got some damn sense out there, right? But it's real simple, family. I feel like, and again, maybe I'm being too harsh, I feel like Ice Cube has allowed himself to be a dancing monkey in the Trump circus. You know what I'm saying? You ever seen like them street vendors and they got like a little monkey and he's dancing around with cymbals in his hands and the monkey's dancing, and then people walk past and they put the quarter in the man's pocket? That's what I feel like Ice Cube has allowed himself to do. And I think maybe it's unwittingly, but the timing of this has to be talked about. You know, this is campaign season. This ain't sit down and come up with comprehensive legislation season. You're dealing with a man who's behind in all the polls, who is again behind in all the polls, who's tracking Bradley, and then you allow yourself to become a political plot in his campaign for re-election. That's all this is. You know, oh, I'm sure he did sit down with Ice Cube. If I was Donald Trump, and I would sit down with Ice Cube too at this point. Oh, yeah. Give me some bullet points. Oh, I'm going to erase this. Oh, we're going to copy and paste. Thank you, Ice Cube. Then they run Katrina Pearson out there, who runs communication and does campaign advising for the Trump administration. They run her out there, and I bet she couldn't wait to hit social media and let everybody know we's working with Ice Cube. Oh, we working with Ice Cube. Come on, we got to be smarter than that, yo. We got to be smarter than that, man. Y'all don't see this? And so there's a couple things can be true at the same time. One, it's great that Ice Cube has a contract for Black America. That's great. Two, we should, and by we, I'm talking about black voters, black people, we should be working with the Democrats and the Republicans. Our agenda should be tripartisan. Really, you should be working with the independents too. Anybody. There's no party affiliation when it comes to your agenda. It's about getting the agenda done. And three, this allows Donald Trump to look good. And that's all it really is at this point. That's it. Did we get any equity policy intangibles? No. What did Donald Trump get? Well, he got a free act. I mean, he couldn't pay, or I guess he could pay. But I bet you the visibility that he's going to get with this is into the tens of millions of dollars. They're probably spending tens of millions of dollars on ad campaigns, and by them, I'm talking about the Trump administration, that won't be as effective as this right here. Everybody, Trump, I'm working with Trump. Oh, yeah, he worked with the black agenda, and he took some of our bullet points and copy and paste it and put it in the platinum plan. For a lot of folks out there that just don't really think things all the way through, they're going to be dazzled with the headline. But not here on the Nathan Ivey Show. We're too smart for that, family. 513-873-7134. Don't believe the hype. How you go from arrest the president, this nigga is Russia intelligence. The whole song is about how it's a criminal syndicate. To now, 3 weeks before the election, you allow yourself to be a part of his unpaid commercial. Unpaid commercial. And what do you get out of it? Nothing. What do you get out of it? Ice, what you getting out of it? So I go on Twitter and I see people like Tariq Nasheed. They steady running this nonsense about the Democrat Party. It's like their whole world exists to criticize the Democrat Party. And to me, that ain't revolutionary. That's fake revolutionary. The real revolution is, it don't matter who. The real revolution is start your own party. But some people, they love to talk about, oh, we off the Democrat plantation. Okay, so now we're going to get on a Republican plantation? Oh, yeah, it's the party of Abraham Lincoln. How'd that work for us? You ever heard of Juneteenth? Yeah, it worked out pretty well for them, huh? Wake up, people. Wake up, people. Wake up, people. Critically think, break this ish down, see it for what it really is. You know what I'm saying? I feel you. I saw a tweet from Sean King this morning. Sean King is running around, defending Ice Cube, saying that Ice Cube he's not a MAGA, right? Well, he's certainly acting like a MAGA. I'm telling you, man, listen, being naive in the game will get you used. You know what I'm saying? Somebody writes, Ice Cube under heavy fire for working with Trump admin for the betterment of black communities. There's nothing wrong with that, but you got to be smart about it. Ice Cube is playing Uno. The Trump administration is playing chess on a grandmaster level. Again, if you doubt what I'm saying, this is just my strong opinion. If you got an opinion, I'd love to hear it. 513-873-7134. But if I'm wrong about that, then tell me what we're getting out of this little relationship. People say, well, ain't nothing wrong with working with Trump. We got to have a backup plan. What? What you talking about? That don't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. I can't go along with this nonsense like I can't see it for what it really is. That don't make any sense. Yeah, you're right. We should be working with whoever. but this dude might not even be the president. And even if he becomes the president, then listen, after the election, we can negotiate. What's wrong with that? Something tells me that if Ice Cube had worked with the Democrats, people be like, oh, he getting played by the Democrats. I mean, y'all, some of these smart dumb cats, man. So smart, you're dumb. Of course, not my audience, not you. I'm talking about your friends and your family members, your associates, not you, not the folks listening to this show. We know what time it is. You know what I'm saying? If Ice Cube did the same thing with the Democrats, and we heard that he sat down with Joe Biden or whatever, but look at the difference in which the campaigns dealt with it. The Trump campaign couldn't wait to run out there and say, we got another black person for Trump. We got another black person for Trump. Come on, folks. So I'm with it. Somebody writes, imagine under fire for helping black communities. But that's not helping black communities. This is not helping black communities. How is this helping black communities? Does somebody believe that? You believe, oh, he's just trying to help black communities. Yeah, he might be trying to do that. That might be his overall goal. But this move right here don't help black communities. And I'll tell you why. Because you're dealing with an administration that's had 3.5 years to show us how they feel about black communities. And what have they done? Tell me what they've done. Okay? If you feel like the Trump administration has done a lot to this point and I'm missing something, then you got the number, call in and let me know. I'd love to hear it. I don't know. I don't see what that is. I think that the biggest and the best predictor of the future is the past. So if you really want to see what Trump is going to do for us, all you got to do is look at what he's done for us for the last 3 years. And what I would tell you is that after the election, Trump has even less of a motivation for his platinum plan because he can't be reelected. This dude is Mr. Quid Pro Quo. Quite honestly, the more and more I think about it, like if we seriously were going to get anything, and by we, I'm talking about black folks in this country, it would have been during the first term, leading into a second term. But now, with 19 days before the election, it's too late. You know what the Trump administration is going to get you? You're going to get a white super Christian, super Catholic Supreme Court justice that, despite what she's saying right now, is going to fall on the opposite side of the issues that most black voters are probably going to be on. That's what you're going to get. So why would I think that Trump in a second term, who has no motivation for re-election, is all of a sudden gonna deliver for black folks? That don't make sense. It don't make sense. Think about it. It makes no sense. You know this man is Mr. Quid Pro Quo. It's all about what you can do for me and what I'm trying to do. If he gets reelected, that's it. What's the motivation? There will be no motivation. And if you say, well, he gonna do it because it's the right thing. Well, what I would retort, what I would come back with to say is, well, if it was the right thing, then why wasn't he talking about it for the first 3.5 years? Because he don't give a damn about black America. Trump don't care about you. He don't care about us. He don't care about your needs and your concerns, because if he did, he would have addressed them already. It's a bargain. It's a dangling of the carrot, straight up and down. But I want to say my thoughts on it, and I'm going to get out the way and share your thoughts. Also, coming up in about, matter of fact, let me just reconnect with the brother. I want to make sure that we get this interview this morning. I'm scheduled to have a conversation. With Earl Price. Earl Price is I think he's a major at, hold on one second. He's a major, I believe, in the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department. And apparently he had a long history with Charmaine McGuffey. Now, Charmaine McGuffey called in the show on Friday talking about some new negative ad that's going black radio here in Cincinnati. I still haven't heard the ad, I don't believe. I saw an ad on YouTube, and it was his brother, Earl Price. And I shared my thoughts with you. I ain't going to back away from him and tell him how I feel about it. It is what it is. So apparently he's got a lot of critiques of her, including, I guess he got a chance to see how she interacts in a leadership position. And also he's claiming that she struck him during a drill, which I think is real, real interesting. I can't wait to have this conversation. So I'm looking forward to it. So if you got questions, please share them. And I got a chance to see Gayle King's interview. Shout out to Gayle King. I know some of you self-loathing black folks got a problem with her because she said something about Kobe Bryant that she didn't even really say. She was doing her job from a media perspective. But people all in their feelings about Black Mamba as if that means something. You know what I'm saying? It was sad and tragic. I mean, I shed a tear for him and his daughter. It was a tragic way to go out. But come on now. What has Black Mamba ever did for you lately? Stop it. And people went crazy, including Snoop Dogg went nuts, called this woman the B word and all this. So disrespecting her is cool. But her having an interview with Lisa Leslie and bringing the fact that Kobe Bryant raped a woman in Colorado many years ago, we ain't supposed to talk about the facts. Knock it off, please. Anyway, she did, I thought, an interesting interview with Kenneth Walker. And after watching that interview, woo, I'm here to tell you, man, dirty cops. I believe Kenneth Walker even more now. And as I told you before, and I've been telling you, it is racist as hell to believe that this black man, Kenneth Walker, is laying in bed with his lady friend. They chilling early in the morning and hear a knock on the door. And he just gonna start firing shots after the police identify themselves. That is racist. That's some old birth of a nation type ish where you think that every black man is looking to rape somebody and steal something and we just all hate the police. You know what I'm saying? That's the only way I can look at it. But after he told his story, I'm here to tell you, it sounds very believable. Very believable. And that SWAT team went into that apartment and let her die. Didn't even check on this young sister, Breonna Taylor, and then walked out like, oh, she's done. And then when he told his story about how things went down, that man was super critical. I hope that Daniel Cameron burns in a special chamber in hell for not doing his duty and getting justice in the Breonna Taylor case. That's just me personally. I'm just keeping it real with you. They got a special place in hell for people like that misuse their authority when you're talking about people's lives. Because I mean, just the interview alone sheds new light on the whole situation right there. And Gayle King asked him, she's like, well, do you think we would have heard about this story if you would have died? And he kept it rizzled. And I agree with him. He said, nope. If Kenneth Walker wasn't alive to tell his story, the police would have lied. The prosecutors would have lied. The media would have been complicit down in Louisville. We never would have known what would have happened. And it just makes you wonder how many other situations like this, when people have lost their lives and they're not here to tell a story, kind of sounds like Bruce Hoffmeyer, right? He kills an unarmed man. The dude is dead. The only person to tell a story that's around now is Bruce Hoffmeyer. So, of course, the story benefits him. Huh? Y'all believe that? I don't. I ain't going out like that. Sorry. It is what it is. 513-873-7134. I ain't going out like that, family. That don't make no damn sense. But you got to watch that. If I get a chance to this morning, we might go over a bit on 10 a.m. There's just so many things going on. I do have the time and flexibility this morning so we can get into it. Don't forget, you got the Midday Juice podcast coming up today at 1 p.m. with Ask Ashley. You can send her questions about life and love to oneasksashley@gmail.com. And perhaps your question will be answered. And I think that's a very valuable thing because sometimes friends and family members are too close to give you objective advice. You feel me on that? They mean well. They love you. They got your back, but they're too close. And then sometimes you got stuff going on with you. You just don't really want to talk to anybody that's close to you. So you want to remain anonymous? You can remain anonymous with Ask Ashley. Again, oneasksashley@gmail.com. That's today at 1 p.m. on Facebook, on Sin Digital Media. Our mission is to amplify Black voices. So think about it, family. Tell me what you think. Let me go straight back to your chat. Good morning to you. Is Earl Price related to Pac-Man Jones? I don't know. Florida Family writes, good morning, sad. Cam writes, Ice Cube told y'all a long time ago that he was America's Most Wanted. Okay. Brent writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Checking in from Dallas, Texas. Brent writes, Ice Cube sent it to both the Democrats and Republicans. The Democrats decided that they would address it after the election. The Democrats dropped the ball on this one, didn't they? That's one way of looking at it. That's one way of looking at it. I mean, I'll look at it a little bit differently, but okay. I'm here for that. Let me see here. Let me make sure we're looking good. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
morning, Nate. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, brother. Who am I speaking with?
This is Black Brent down in Dallas.
Hey, what's
How
up?
you doing?
What's up, man? From Dallas. What's up, Black Brent?
Yeah, there's only one other Black Brent I know, and that's my dad. So just one of those names. But yeah, I just want to hit on 2 points real quick. Number one was Ice Cube and his contract with Black America. Yeah, I feel what you're saying and everything, and saying that Ice Cube was huge, but this was an opportunity for the Democrats to really step up and embrace Ice Cube, embrace the plan, and they chose to wait. And, goodness, the Republicans, they jumped on it. They did what, you would expect them to do. They jumped on it and ran with it. So from that perspective, hey, that's on the Democrats or not. Or from running from Ice Cube. That's what I see that, feels like to me they were doing. And, also just speaking to the point, when you talk to this cop who 20 years later is still caught up in his feelings about getting shit in the mouth or hit wherever by a 5'7", 150-pound woman, ask him why now. Why is he all of a sudden coming out complaining that this happened? Why didn't he file a grievance against her? It just speaks that he has something else that he has been promised, that he would be elevated in the I don't know the guy he drives with. But what's the deal with that? Because he just seems like a straight up Mitch, to be real. He's coming out this much later. But I appreciate your time, Nate. I'll try to call in when I can. I didn't get a chance to take my bike ride this morning, but hey, it's real down here in Texas too. There's some craziness going on as usual. So hey, I appreciate your time. Hopefully he will call in and won't get scared away by you. But hey, you have a great day.
You too, Brent. That's Black Brent down in Texas. Appreciate you, brother. Yeah, I love the internet. I'm late for a break, family. Quick break. It'll be about, we got news for you from some black business news, which I think would be very valuable. Smart people will listen to that news and make major moves. So pay attention to it. So we got the Bloomberg Urban Report coming up. We got a couple of promotional ads. Again, when you hear political ads, those are not endorsements from me. I'm not endorsing anyone. But as a media platform, we will certainly help to promote your campaign. You know what I'm saying? Of course, within some limits. I'm not prepared to promote everybody and everything. It kind of depends on some levels. But, I'm open to it. Democrats, Republicans, I've said it before. And the reach of this show is expanding exponentially since we went to a video platform. If I told you the numbers, you probably wouldn't believe me. And what else do we have? Just a couple of promos about the show. So maybe about 3.5 minutes, family. And then we'll come right back. It's the Nathan Ivey Show. I'm live, I'm local, and I'm vocal. Broadcasting live from beautiful Cincinnati, Ohio, city of my birth. It's the Nathan Ivey Show, Cincinnati's first daily digital talk show. You hear that? That's too damn loud. Cincinnati's first daily digital talk show that focuses on the black community. We're talking about Ice Cube, among other things. Don't go anywhere.
The show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
The Bloomberg Black Business Report. I'm Donna Wilson. In an effort to combat systemic racism, Silicon Valley is building a tech platform. A new online database called 100K Pledge will track individuals and organizations that commit anywhere from $100,000 to $100 million over 10 years to hire black people to invest in black-owned businesses. We're donating causes supporting the black community. An initial group of founding members of more than 130 professionals have pledged $140 million already. And the Players Coalition, the nonprofit founded by NFL players Anquan Bolden and Malcolm Jenkins, is donating $350,000 in grants nationwide to provide disadvantaged students in schools with internet access, broadband connectivity, and technical devices.
That's your Bloomberg Black Business Report. I'm Donna Wells.
Jill Schiller has been missing in action, and now we know why. Did you know that Jill Schiller, candidate for Hamilton County Treasurer, got away with a dangerous offense? Her friends and connections at Cincinnati City Hall turned their heads when she was racing through a Cincinnati public school zone doing 52 in a 20-mile-an-hour zone. She could have killed a child. As of 1,000 children are killed in school zones each year by people like Schiller. Schiller should have served 5 days in jail as the law states, but being privileged kept her out while you, the public, would have gone to jail. Her friends and connections at City Hall only fined her $60, and they quickly destroyed the evidence the next day. We cannot trust Schiller with our school children. Should we trust her to protect and safeguard our tax dollars? Vote for Charlie Winburn for Hamilton County Treasurer. We can trust him to safeguard our tax dollars and our children.
Paid for by friends of Charlie Winburn.
You're listening to the Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Now let's get back to the flow.
As I said, my friends, a quick break. Welcome back. Nathan Ivey with you. Remember, for all the hustlers out there, the grinders, entrepreneurs, remember this: impossible is just an opinion. Impossible is just an opinion. Don't let these fools out here try to dissuade you. Do you. Make it happen. Hey, good morning. Welcome back. Broadcasting live from beautiful Cincinnati, Ohio. We're talking about Ice Cube. From arrest the president to the platinum plan, the problem with the Ice Cube, or the problem with Ice Cube working with Trump, in my opinion. And a lot of it has to do with the timing of it. I'll say it again. I got no problem. If you out here working for the betterment of our community, you should be working with Democrats and Republicans. If you're crafting an agenda for our community, it should be nonpartisan. Democrats, Republicans, the Green Party, the whatever party. Whatever it's going to take to get the agenda done. You know, when it comes to crafting the agenda, there are no friends. It's like the U.S. foreign policy. When it comes to U.S. foreign policy, we have an agenda. The actors that make that happen, they might change. It's the way we should look at it from the Black America standpoint. So in terms of working with the sitting president, okay, I'm with it. But we 3 weeks out from an election, yo. We 3 weeks out from an election. They're not going to put anything of any substantive or any real tangibles in place in 3 weeks. All this does, in my opinion, is allow Donald Trump to turn Ice Cube into a campaign prop. See, we doing what the Democrats ain't doing, and it's working. Oh, you know, we sat with Ice Cube and we took some bullet points from his plan and we put it on our plan. Ain't we good to you, black folks? Come on now. Come on now. Stop it. Bullet points? We talking about bullet points, right? Cut and paste? That's how I see it. But what do you think? I'm more concerned and interested in what you think. Glenn writes, I never had dinner with the COVID. I never had dinner with the COVID. What? I'm not sure what that means. Not sure. Let me see. Ron writes, if you follow Cube, you would know he had the best intentions for black people. Folks are gullible as hell. Shaking my damn head. You right. Folks are. You right. Folks are gullible as hell, Ron. Now, who those folks are, that's debatable. Because I could say that might be gullible on Ice Cube's part. Because here's my question for anybody who feels like, well, the Democrats didn't do this and Ice Cube looking out for us. As we sit here on Thursday, October 15th, 2020, what did we get? What have we gotten? What did Ice Cube get from this meeting, allowing the Trump administration to cut and paste? Because you got to look things for what they are. What did we get out of this? 513-873-7134. I would love to hear what Black America got out of this. As we sit here right now, because I can tell you what Trump is getting out of it today. Like, he's getting his dividends today. He's cashing his checks today. But what is Black America getting out of it? What is Ice Cube getting out of it? Today. Not what they promising in November or October or these. Today, people. Zero. We didn't get anything out of it. Ice Cube ain't getting nothing out of this. Trump is getting something out of it. He's getting tens of millions of unpaid campaign advertisement dollars. He ain't even spend that money in black media. Think about that. Black media, like when I hear black media getting Trump dollars, cool. But when this Ice Cube thing, this is unpaid, free campaign ads that Trump is getting out of it. Positive press. What are we getting out of this, Ron? Zero. So I hear you, but we can't be so gullible to make something bigger than what it really is. I mean, see it for what it really is. This is some more promises from a man who's been in office for 3.5 years and never pushed any of this stuff on a serious basis. Yeah, he'll talk about it like, yeah, I'm good for the blacks and I'm the best president that black America's ever had. Well, if you think you're the best president for black America ever had, then why hasn't this platinum plan been put in place? Like, if all of this stuff had been put in place and was being effectively as policies being put in place for the betterment of our community, well, then maybe we can talk about it. But it hasn't. Am I missing something? Please send me a link. Tracy writes, some said Jay-Z was playing chess. I'm still waiting for it. Speak on it. Exactly. Yeah, he playing chess all right. Yeah, now black dude's going to be the musical director for the halftime show. Hooray, hooray, man. We lifting up, we moving clouds and moving mountains now. Thank you, Jay-Z. A black dude's going to be the creative director for the Super Bowl halftime show. Wow. Way to go. We getting progress in 2020. We getting progress. Sometimes I feel like sometimes black folks is so starved for attention that any little bit of attention seems to pacify some of us. Like, oh, they looking at me. They're looking at you. They must like me. They must like you. Oh, they're going to deliver for me. They're going to deliver for you. Yeah, right. Come on now. We're worth more than that. Carmelita writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppers. Renee writes, good morning, everyone. Good to see you, Renee. Ron writes, Cube is smart enough to know if you're going to make change, you have to sit with the people in charge of making changes. We all smart enough to know that, Ron, but that's not the question. My biggest issue is the timing of it. And the fact that there's no equity policy intangibles. I keep reiterating the same point. I'll reiterate the question again. What did we get out of this? What are we getting out of this big meeting between Cube and Trump? Trump is getting he's circumventing black media on some levels. Because everybody in black media is going to talk about this today. Everybody. On social media, this is tens of millions of dollars of free Trump advertising. And you got black people out there like, yeah, good answer. It's not the good answer. You ever watch Family Feud? And they ask the question like, top 3 things that you'll find in your refrigerator, right? And then sometimes, the family members will get up there and they'll get all like, oh my God, we need 500 more points and we're gonna go for the grand round, right? We're gonna go to the final round. And grandma gets up there and the question is, top 10 things you can find in your kitchen. And she says, a bicycle. And the family's like, good answer, grandma. Just because they want to pacify grandma, we ain't doing that over here. And we're not doing that. That's a dumb question, grandma. That's a good damn dumbass response. Go sit your ass down. See, we didn't want to bring you no way. You're lucky to be here. We'll spend some time with you. We make that transition. Grandma gets up there and say, a bicycle. What's wrong with you? But what do you see on Family Feud? People being, okay, yeah. Maybe they've got some bicycles that can, she didn't mean a bicycle. She meant icicles. Yeah. Come on, man. Call it for what it is. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
How you doing, Nate?
I'm doing great.
All right. This is Brian calling. Talking about Ice Cube's contract with Black America. Now, I think the plan is a good idea. First of all, let's separate the plan from what just happened. In the political spectrum. The issues he's addressing needs to be addressed, and it's 400 years overdue,
Right.
really. But and the fact that wants to talk to Republicans and Democrats is a good thing. But let's get this straight. Trump is not a Republican. Trump is for Trump. And all you have to do is turn on cable news every day on his campaign rallies and see what he really thinks about Black America. One day he's telling suburban white people that the minorities and Black Lives Matter is coming to destroy your suburbs. And then on another day, he's saying that he backs the blue and he's not for any police reforms or, any reforms that really affect us. But then this comes out and he's saying he's working with Ice Cube. If you go by his history, not just with Black people per se, but with just people in general, the man is untrustworthy, and he will say whatever he can to make a buck or get ahead. So it's almost like he's making a deal with the devil that he knows it's not true. And like you said before, this is just free advertising for him. He's not. He just wants to pick up 5 or 10% of the Black vote away from Joe Biden this election to hopefully win some of those battleground states where we're concentrated, and then after the election go back to doing whatever he's going to do. I don't necessarily like Biden all the way. There's a lot of issues I have with him and some of the things he's done in the past and not done. It's more inaction than action that I have a problem with Biden with. But you have to look at it. We have more representation within the party in the Democratic that he needs to win the election. So yes, like Jay-Z says, even though I don't like some of the stuff Jay-Z does, has done lately, it is about playing chess. And I think the best move that we have right now is to vote for Biden, support Biden, and hopefully that pressure that he has within his base that got him elected pushes him to enact some of these policies that we need. And that was it.
Yeah. Hey, Brian, thanks for the call.
All right.
Yeah, sounds like a smart man to me. The best indication of the future is the past. The best indication of what Trump will do for Black America in a second term is what Trump has done for Black America in the first term. And what has he done? Well, essentially, he's reduced our issues into campaign props. Oh, I'm the best president that Black folks have ever had since Abraham Lincoln, trampling over the advances of the first Black president, Barack Obama, stealing his flow, stealing his economic momentum, and acting like he did something. What makes you think this whole relationship with Ice Cube is going to be anything different? And again, my biggest issue is the timing of it. Timing is everything, especially in politics. Now, if they were having this conversation 2 years ago, now we got something. Why, family? Because now we got enough time to actually put these policies in place, and then to judge as to whether they're effective or not. We're 19 days away from the election. What are we supposed to do with this? I'm supposed to take this to heart like, oh, yeah, he cut and paste from stuff from the contract with Black America sponsored by Ice Cube. And oh, by the way, that's not the first Black agenda. It is not the first Black agenda. There are multiple organizations, including a lot of Black female-led organizations that have been in this lane way before Ice Cube got involved. We can't get starstruck. Ice Cube talking about an agenda. I ain't never heard of it before. Well, you don't know. Just because you don't know doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I was watching First Take about maybe about a month ago when they was really whenever it was 3 weeks or 4 weeks ago when they were debating in the NBA about Black Lives Matter and all this kind of stuff. Oh, by the way, the NBA is not going to run Black Lives Matter next year. So a prop. But anyway, maybe they're going to blame that on why the ratings are so low. But anyway, so I'm watching ESPN First Take with Stephen A. Smith, who is a brother. And he's like, and I agree with him. He's like, man, the athletes should start a PAC, a political action committee. You can call it the Black PAC. And I thought, there's already a Black PAC. Go on Twitter right now. It's called the Black PAC, a Black female-run political organization that's been doing the work for years. We got to, if we care about stuff, we got to research what we're talking about and what we say we care about. We can't just overlook the contributions of brothers and sisters just because it's outside of our radar screen and act like it's not really there. I feel like people getting celebrity starstruck with like, oh, we've got multiple Black-led organizations that's doing that work. Go Google it. I'm not trying to ish on Ice Cube. I think it's great. You can never have too many people that's working on the betterment or the behalf of Black folks. That's my particular, personal opinion about that. More is better when it comes to that. And hopefully they posse up. You know what I'm saying? Don't do the whole divide and conquer thing. But we can't act like that this is sacred land and we ain't never heard of it before. That ain't true. And quite honestly, there's people out there who's done a better job than Ice Cube has done. I mean, if you really want me to break it all the way down, quite honestly, to be real with you, I ain't ishing on the brother, and it's a work in progress, and I can see his momentum, and hopefully his star power will carry it over the top for our community. But I can't be ignorant of what I already know. I can't do that. I'm not going to do it. So anybody out there like, well, we need a Black agenda, go on. You got some homework to do this weekend. Google it. And tell me I'm wrong. You know what I'm saying? I want to hear Ice Cube working with these other Black-led organizations that's been doing the work for 2 election cycles. I would be far more into that than hearing about Donald Trump. And Brian said it so perfectly, man. It's like Trump will do anything to get elected. You know what I'm saying? He'll dangle any carrot it takes. He'll tell whatever audience he has to tell, whatever they have to do to get what he's trying to get. And right now he wants to be reelected. That's what I think. What do you think? Please take a second to like and share today's show. Again, when you share the show, more people see it. Simple as that. It's the multiply effect. Please share the show. Good morning to you. What do you think? 513-873-7134 if you want to share your thoughts. Back to your chat this morning. John Gray, he was looking to replace the other overweight pastor who was saying prayers at the convention 4 years ago. Yeah, I did bring up John Gray. I mean, it is what it is. You saw these Black pastors, and again, I got no problem. Like early on, I urge people, like, you get a call for Trump, he want to meet at the White House, you should go. You should go. He wants to have a big fake policy meeting or a real policy agenda meeting, you should go. But when you go, don't punk out. Don't get up there and start cheesing and smiling with Massa, thinking that means something. Because it don't. Don't go up there and betray your conscience. Don't go, and then when you leave, all of a sudden you got regrets for going because you didn't say what you had to say. You know what I'm saying? Early on, if Trump had called me, I would have went. And when the question come up, I'm straight Eartha Kitt with it. If you ask me the question, I'm going to answer it to the fullest. And I don't care what you think about it. And if you want me to leave the White House, you can escort me out. Simple as that. But too many of these so-called leaders want to cheese and dance with Trump, take pictures with Trump. I don't care about taking no pictures with nobody in the world except for my family. Period. Damn, I know damn pictures. Oh my God. Dale writes, all money ain't good money. He about to get Chrisette Michelle. Yeah, she performed at his it was at some function. I think it was his re-election party or something like that. Or maybe it was the inauguration. She performed at his inauguration. I think that's what it was. Glenn writes, talent suppression is real. Dill writes, yeah, he goes on the list. Jasmine writes, what qualifies him of all people to speak on behalf of all Black people? Because he's a celebrity, Jasmine. Because he's well known. And we have a celebrity culture where because you're famous, that means you can do anything. You're perfect at everything. That's why people thought that Michael Jordan was going to be like the best baseball player ever. Remember this? Oh, he's going to be the best baseball player ever because he's good at basketball. And basketball is more athletic than baseball. People were shocked and amazed when he got out there and was straight trash on the baseball field. But it makes sense. Just because you're good at one thing don't mean you're good at everything. Just because you're good at making songs don't mean you're good at negotiating with politics and policy. It don't mean that. I think that Ice Cube got outplayed. I'm gonna be honest with you. He got outplayed. He's playing Uno. He's trying to line up the colors. and the Trump administration and the smart, intelligent political strategists that have been working in politics in some cases for 20 years, they saw him coming like, ooh, oh, you want to talk? This is what the Trump administration did when they saw that Ice Cube got sent them an email talking about the contract of Black America. They was like, woo, yes. Oh, yeah. We want to talk. Oh, we will certainly cut and paste some of your ideas onto our idea. Oh, for sure. And guess what then? We're going to run out of Twitter and tell everybody. We're going to tell everybody. You got to be smarter than that, folks. You got to be smarter than that. So again, I'm not dragging Ice Cube on no personal level because I think the brother overall, I want to believe that he's in it for the right reasons. Like he's in it for us. Like I really want to hold on to it, believe that. But just because you have good intentions don't mean that you're the person to do it. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And he's a smart guy. I'm sure he's going to have a lot of highly motivated, smart, intelligent political people that are going to come to his jump on board with him and give him the kind of advice that you're going to need. Hold on 1 second, family. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. All right, thank you for that. I had to take care of something real quick inside the studio here. The lights here. There you go. There we go. I mean, now we're looking good. So as I said, I think that Ice Cube is super well intentioned. I think he's well intentioned. I just feel like he's getting out maneuvered. He's getting out politics by well-oiled, very smart, intelligent political minds. I mean, there's some people working for Trump, man, that this is what they do. That's what they do. This is their lane. Ice Cube has been working on the big three. Fantastic entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? As an activist, as much as you can be through your music, and listen, I'm still rocking with Ice Cube on those levels. But this move right here, he got outplayed by the Trump administration. There's no other way of looking at it. Because Trump is getting tens of millions of free advertising dollars in the black community today. Every single black talk show host in America will be talking about this. You can believe it. Every single one of them. They're going to be tweeting it. They're going to be talking about it. They're going to be sharing it. It's going to be all over the internet for the rest of the day. There's no doubt about it. And that's all free publicity for Donald Trump. That's not going to new black media. That's not going to establish black media. I'm just saying. There's a whole bunch of ways of looking at it. That's how I look at it. What do you think? 513-873-7134. Jack writes, all the money he has accumulated from the black community, movies, music, and he starts a basketball league. Brothers need to play games literally and figuratively. Cam writes, Nate, come off it, bro. Since when do we follow an N-word with an attitude pertaining to politics? Cam, man, I'm telling you, there's a lot of people that's looking at Ice Cube and they have a very positive and favorable viewpoint of Ice Cube. He's getting a lot of press for this. And for good reason. I'm saying he deserves the positive press that he's gotten for, his black agenda, his plan, right? Because at the very least, it's getting us thinking along the lines that we should be thinking about our collective political power. So I give him props for that. Now, I think you're wrong, man. I think people are paying attention to this. Glenn writes, A-Ball and MJG said they wouldn't talk to Donald Trump. Well, that means everything. Andrell writes, morning, Nate. Good morning to you. Ballhead writes, don't make a plan or an agreement with my life and don't know what I'm going through. Rich folks think they got it figured out. Just come sit down with us and see what our issues are. F a plan. Okay. Nat writes, good morning, Facebook choppers. Dale writes, exactly. Most of us wouldn't see in our lifetime what he makes in a year. Nate has been talking about black economic power since the primaries and elections from the beginning. Yes, I have. Charles writes, you can't hear on Spreaker. I think I have solved that issue, maybe, hopefully.
hold on one second here. It's been a mess on Spreaker this morning. My apologies. But I think at this point, we finally got it figured out, hopefully. That's what it looks like on my side of the world here. I think for a second there, we were modulating way too high. But I think that we're good right now. Yeah, it looks good from what I'm seeing. Good morning to you. Everett writes, just cut the check. Let's get to the check, huh? Instead of get to the choppers, get to the check. Instead of get to the choppers, get to the check. All right, let me rewind a little bit. Let me rewind and go back to where we started. Okay, we started this morning with today's cover art. All right, from Arrest the President to the Platinum Plan, the problem with Ice Cube working with Trump, and I spent some time talking about it. And he's been getting a lot of heat. And by he, I mean Ice Cube has been getting a lot of heat because of associations with Trump. And I think that I can't validate everybody's critique, but I think that, if your critique is that the timing of it kind of like gives Trump some unpaid campaign fodder, you're right about that. And again, the question for me is, what is Ice Cube getting out of this? And by extension, through him, what are black voters? What is Black America getting out of this news? And as I see it right now, absolutely nothing. We ain't getting nothing out of it. Hold on. Also, I got a scheduled guest. His name is Earl Price. And Earl Price was Earl Price is a major in the Hamilton County Sheriff Department. We'll see if it comes through. He hit me up yesterday and was like, Nate, I heard about the show. I heard about Charmaine McGuffey. He says that she was telling a lot of lies. Yeah, I got that. Thank you, Sister Iris. I got that. She says that he was telling, that Charmaine McGuffey was telling, who's a candidate for Hamilton County Sheriff, was telling a lot of lies. My interest is just, providing a platform so we the people can make the best informed decision. So we'll see if he's able to come through this morning. I think that I scheduled him between about 9:15ish this morning, so maybe in about 8 minutes. And you know me, I'm about that sizzle. I want to have a conversation. I do have some questions. I do have some suspicions. I'll be honest with you. Hold on a second here. I want to see if it's Mr. Price. But as I've said from day one, I believe I'm fair but biased. I'm fair in the sense that you will get time here on the platform. I've reached out to Democrats and Republicans. It really makes no difference to me. If you're running for political office and/or, if you got something that's impactful for the community, we can have a conversation here on the Nathan Ivey Show, especially if it impacts greater Cincinnati area and Hamilton County and Ohio and black folks in general. If it checks any of those boxes, then you can have a spot here on the Nathan Ivey Show. Now, a lot of Republicans have decided not to use this platform this election cycle. I guess the word got out about me that I'm no pushover and not going to be your dancing monkey, that, I'm going to hold you accountable to the dumb shit you say and you've done. And I guess they don't like those kind of black men in Cincinnati. I guess they're not used to that. But again, I didn't start the Nathan Ivey Show online to be anybody's dancing monkey, to not speak my mind exactly the way I want to see it, exactly how I say it, right, wrong, or whatever the consequences are, that's what's going to happen. I'll say it again. Sin Digital Media is home of the most unfiltered black voices in the Cincinnati market, period. I already got some. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you. Look at you. Thank you. It's the black wifey. Appreciate her. Black love is real, at least for this morning. we'll fall out later. Camrai's drop is down in the ditch looking for the said thrown away Trump ballot. Shaking my head. Is that where he was? Greg writes, I'm listening on Facebook. You're coming in kind of choppy. I'm having problems with drop. Yeah, sorry about that. Bobby writes, good morning. Jack writes, so I can't hear him or don't want to hear him. That's hilarious. Dion writes, what the heck have Republicans done? That's a good question. Like I said, I think the Democrat Party should be challenged by black voters. The Democrat Party should be challenged by black voters. They deserve to be challenged on their record. They deserve to be held accountable for what they've done and not doing for our communities when they've been in control. I'm about that. But if we're going to be sophisticated about it, then the revolution is not partisan. It's not favoring, I know Candace Owens is out here on some Blexit type stuff. I'm not with Blexit. Black exit of the Democrat Party and then it's like an exodus to the Republican Party? Hell no. The most revolutionary thing black people can do is create their own ish with their own agenda that's nonpartisan and hold both parties accountable if they want our votes. That's the most revolutionary thing, but I get it. I get it. Greg writes, Ice Cube's a professional Negro. What does he mean by that? Ice Cube rapped Arrest the President a year and a half ago, right? But I think now that Cube sees that Russiagate went nowhere, Cube is trying to stay open-minded to which presidential candidate will endorse the contract with Black America. Yeah, but my only problem is the timing of it. You know, endorsing the contract of Black America right now is real easy. What have you done for Black America in the last 3.5 years is my question for Donald Trump. You've had all this time. You know, you got a contract of Black America, but look at how COVID-19 has affected Black America. You got a contract of Black America, but look at how COVID-19 has affected Black kids. Did you know that it's far less common for young children to die of COVID? But when they have died of COVID in this country, guess who has died? It's been our babies. Black and brown babies. Meanwhile, this dude's been running around lying about COVID, even though it's in particular impacting our community. But now he cares about us, and we're supposed to embrace the fact that the Platinum Plan, which I think in and of itself is condescending. You know, like somebody from the Trump administration who came up with that is a big fan of 90s hip hop when all these cats was running around talking about platinum this and platinum that. That's what I think. That's what I think. So now we're going to come up. Black folks really respond to platinum, so we're going to give them the Platinum Plan. You falling for that? Dale writes, yeah, he's not mentioning how the plan is laid out for Republicans include mega tax cuts for the rich. Lies by drop. He's full of, and then there's a feces emoji. Dion writes, what adjustments? Right. Trump did authorize significant financial assistance to HBCUs. He did the same thing and didn't do anything more that was already put in place under the Obama administration. We got to do our homework and stop giving Trump credit for what Obama already did, just like we did with the economy and jobs. Oh, it's jobs. The first year of the Trump administration, there's been no real policy whatsoever from the Trump administration that would directly affect the employment rate whatsoever. The employment rate was high pre-COVID because of the momentum that is statistically, this is evidence, right? This is facts. This is statistically factual that the economic momentum started during the Obama administration, and whatever policies, and we could talk about some of them if you want to get deep into it, whatever policies and principles that were put in place were so strong that it helped America rebound to the point that it bled into the Trump administration. And Trump gets on stage and says, look, we've jobs. Look at what we're doing is my unemployment rate. And da-da-da. Huh? What'd you do? Well, I affected the stock market. Huh? Come on now. This is the home of intelligent Black people. We ain't going for that. Fast Pitch writes, right, despite these progressive Blacks that meet with Trump. Remember when Steve Harvey did it? ? When losing gigs ever since. And where's the ask from those meetings? Exactly. Fast Pitch. He met with Trump. Great. What did we get out of it? What do we get out of it? Brent writes, the politicians do not want to engage with community activists. They only want to engage with entertainers and athletes. And they don't understand the complexities of the issues. Brent, correctamundo, you're right. If you're Trump, or Biden, it's a whole lot easier to meet with Charlemagne the God, Cardi B, Snoop, Killer Mike. Now, all these people are not the same. You know, some of these folks have different levels of understanding and involvement with grassroots politics or local politics, local to where they're from. So I'm not trying to put Cardi B in the same file as a Killer Mike per se, because I already know that they got different levels of what I have read to be their involvement and understanding of what's going on, right? But we can put them all in the meet with celebrity file. Why? You get a bigger bang for your buck. If you meet with Charlemagne the God, he's gonna give you hundreds of thousands of page views. If you meet with the local community activists in XYZ city, you're not gonna get the same visibility, and then they might ask you a question or hold you accountable in a way that puts you in a compromising position, and a lot of politicians don't want that. So they rather meet with the celebrities. Great point, Brent. Great point. Charles writes, exactly, Nate. He has no definition. Just some silly Republican psychobabble. Yeah. That's hilarious. Brian writes, from Tiki to Dashiki? Nah, I ain't buying it. That's hilarious. From Tiki to Dashiki. That is hilarious. From the Tiki torches at Charlottesville to now you're rocking dashikis and you're rolling with NWA. You rolling with Ice Cube now? I ain't buying it either, man. Janice writes, Trump supporters live in a castle of fantasy. Yes, they do. They do. Greg writes, there's a rapper who goes by Paris who gets much less publicity than than Cube. Paris basically said, to paraphrase it, on Facebook yesterday, that both parties suck, and instead of trying to make deals with either the Trump or Biden faction, it's better to invest in black education. Well, I think we can do all of it. I think that for people that have those kind of plans, have done the homework, that have put the research into what the impact of the plan should be, you should meet with both parties because the two-party system is dominant right now. You got to play the game the way the game is played, right? If you're playing Uno, you play Uno. You don't play poker. If you're playing poker, you play poker. You're not playing blackjack. It is what you got to play the rules. You got to play the game by the rules that have been laid. Okay, so I'm with that. But for all the people that's rah-rahing, and pom-pomming like, oh, this is great. I'm just pointing out another way of looking at it. I don't have to be right. It's just another way of looking at it. Brian writes, she went off because of what's included with the deal. Give all the facts that drop. Ballhead writes, we need our own party. Absolutely. Janine writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Janice writes, I'm personally insulted that Ice Cube, who has neither been voted into leadership position or elected by black people, feels that he is our voice. If he is speaking for himself, so be it. Well, I just support the efforts. Like, a lot of people talk about these agendas and doing stuff, but if you take the initiative to make that step, and you're doing it in a way in which you're kind of measuring your outcomes, and your true intention is for our community, then you can get my attention. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to just say, oh, who are you? If it makes sense, I'm going to look at the issues as they are, and if it makes sense for us, it makes sense for us. I don't care where it comes from. But what bothers me is this celebrity culture we live in, where people act like this is the first time they ever heard of a black agenda. We've needed this forever. You go on Google, there's people doing it right now. Been doing it way before him. Shauna writes, what he gave to HBCUs was a pebble in a pond compared to what Princeton, Yale, Harvard get. $2 trillion amongst all HBCUs versus $4 trillion per Ivy League college. Make it make sense. Those numbers aren't 100% accurate, but you get my point. Carolyn's in the house. Good morning to you, Carolyn. She writes, rat, monkey, snake. I got some rat, monkey, snake t-shirts coming out real soon. I love that. There's a lot of rat, monkey, snakes in our community. Brent writes, if Ice Cube actually sat down or had a video conference with Ice Cube, those photos would be on every platform, including Fox News. I think you meant if Trump sat down with Ice Cube. I agree with you. Brent writes, if 45 actually had a meeting, a video conference. Okay, I just rewrote the same thing. I caught it for you. Greg writes, the New York Post just ran a story yesterday. Trump brought it up at a rally where there are supposedly all these emails that show Hunter Biden's corruption in Ukraine and that Joe Biden knew about it. But Trump's son is in Law Kushner, has all kinds of investment in the UAE. And Kushner is Trump's main negotiator with the Middle East. Yeah, don't forget about Khashoggi, who is I think he was the Arab-born journalist that was killed, right? And nothing happened primarily because of Kushner's relationship with the crown, with the king, quite honestly. So I don't know. Yeah, I didn't read that entire article, but I am aware that there's a news article that's debunked some of those claims. But what we've learned about Trump is that whenever Trump accuses somebody of doing something, it's because that's what he's doing. It's purely deflection. So Trump would try to use the post office and use his power to influence the inner workings of the post office for his betterment. And at the same time, he'll claim that Democrats are doing it. So while he's working with the Russians, he'll claim, no, Hillary Clinton's really working with the Russians. We can see right through it. It's very simplistic, but it works. Pam writes, it turned out nothing on Trump because Trump wouldn't let anyone testify, and he wouldn't testify. But he did get Manafort, Flynn, Cohen, and others, so don't say it didn't turn up anything. Yeah, I mean, another person that got outplayed was the special counsel? Yeah, Robert Mueller. Remember Robert Mueller? He's got this FBI old school look, and he got completely outplayed. And what I read, and there's been a lot written about it, is the reason why he got outplayed is because he wanted to play by the books. He wanted to play by the rules. And Trump don't care about the rules. And so when you're in a situation where you want to play by the rules, but your adversary doesn't, you're going to lose every single time. You're going to lose every single time. It's just like a fight. If you get into a fight, but you don't want to fight dirty, meaning you don't want to pick up something and whack your opponent with it, but your opponent is willing to pick up whatever they can, who's going to win that fight? If everything else is equal, who's going to win that fight? The person is willing to grab a weapon, throw some dirt in your eyes, I don't know, have their friend come up behind you and hold you down. Like, whoever's willing to go the furthest usually wins. That's just how it goes. That's what happened with Robert Mueller. He went out like a bia, unfortunately. Let me look up Sean King here. So people love to hate on Sean King, and now you got a reason to, a legitimate reason. Sean King's out here stumping for Ice Cube. Like, him saying this is going to stop us from thinking. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ice Cube is not a MAGA. I'm not saying Ice Cube is a MAGA. What I'm saying is Ice Cube should have been smart enough to not allow himself to be a Trump campaign, prop. And that's exactly what this is going to turn into. It's already turned into it, quite honestly. 513-873-7134. Nat writes, Ice Cube didn't consult one black woman on an agenda for black people. I don't know. Maybe he did. I don't know. I haven't heard about it. But I would have been far more impressed if he was working with some of these black-led, and in many cases, black female-led organizations announced that, than him just announcing that I'm working with Trump like that means something. But hey, maybe the silver lining in this is that the Biden campaign or the Democrats will look at it and say, or all the political parties and say, hey, well, damn, maybe we should do that. And we're going to take it even more seriously. Not only are we going to meet with you, we're going to meet with you and actually push to implement this. So maybe that's the silver lining in this. Maybe there is a silver lining in this. We'll see. We'll see. Amy Coney Barrett opined in her ruling that getting called the N-word in the workplace doesn't make that place hostile. I'm aware of that. It says something about a mentality. Thank you for telling the truth, Nathan. I wonder what that bootlicker from the left coast will say in response. Sister Iris writes, good morning, great people. Trunking with Dante writes, you can't say the same thing about the Democrats. Democrats have failed to take black folks higher. I think that I could say I don't look at them the same. I'm sorry. I do not look at the impact the same, but they are the same. So I think the Democrats and Republicans need to be analyzed individually. But together, I think from a black standpoint, we can say with some degree of certainty that neither one of these parties have delivered the equity, policy, intangibles that we've been asking for. But I think the means to which, or the reasons why individually both of these parties have not done so is a little bit different. Does that make any sense? But at the end of the day, I must admit, if we arrive at the same conclusion that neither of the two major parties have delivered to us, that's all that really matters, right? So I feel you on that one. Maurice writes, crooked cops. Yeah, man. Let me see if I can pull this up. This is worthy our time. Let's talk about Kenneth Walker for a little bit here. I know we've been talking about Ice Cube. I'm still here for that conversation, but man, y'all need to hear this Kenneth Walker and see this Kenneth Walker interview. It is worth your time. It is worth your time because he sat down with Gayle King and he gave his side of the situation. Now, I don't want to play all of it because it's like 9 minutes long. I don't want to play that much time on the show. I don't want to take that away from my flow and your flow. And again, we may have a guest here at about, let me see here. Let's see if we can get, I don't know. We'll see if Mr. Price still comes through this morning. I just sent him a message and didn't get a response. So we shall. Please call 3 different numbers. Okay. There's 3 different numbers there. So we'll see. And if we don't get a call from him, I might call his number to see what's going on. We'll see what's happening this morning. TNT writes, good morning. Anthony writes, replying to Greg, she did get paid. You can be great at something and still be flawed. Brian writes, Trump did bail out Cube's basketball league. Maybe it was another quid pro quo. Did he? With the overall bailouts that bailed out Cube as well? Huh. I didn't read about that. Send me a link, Brian. That's real interesting. That could give us another lens at the very least to look at this. But I want to play a little bit of this Breonna Taylor for you, man. This is from CBS this morning. Of course, they reserve all the rights. Hopefully I don't get flagged with some copyright issues this morning because that can happen. I think we'll be okay. But this was originally played on CBS this morning. Kenneth Walker spoke out. And I think the brother is, we owe him a little bit of our time this morning to check this out. This is real interesting. And when I finished watching this, I believed him even more. I believe Kenneth Walker even more after watching this. Okay? I want to play a little bit of this for you this morning. Check this out.
His name is Kenneth Walker. Now, he was with Taylor when she was killed by Louisville police officers on March 13th. He told us that they were in bed watching a movie when police raided the apartment as part of a narcotics investigation that was targeting.
All right, family, I got to make this point again, and we'll get straight to the audio and the video here. But again, this black man is in bed with his lady friend watching a movie. And you want to tell me that this black man in 2020, in bed, Netflix and chilling with his lady friend, he wants to go from that to potentially killing police officers and going to jail for the rest of his life. To believe that is racist in and of itself, and it's racist to its core. If you believe that, you is a racist, period. If you're black and you believe that, you're a self-loathing black man. I'm gonna keep it real with you 100. There's no black man in America that wants to get out of bed with his lady, you Netflix and chilling, because you hear a knock on the door, they say police, and your response is to fire a shot. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Her ex-boyfriend. We should point out that Kenneth Walker and Breonna Taylor do not have a criminal history, and no illegal drugs were found in that home. We went to Louisville over the weekend to talk with Kenneth Walker about that night.
To the world, just a hashtag, a picture, and all of that. But to me, it was much more. More than a girlfriend, too. I think that's what I want the world to know the most. That was my best friend. The most important person, pretty much, to me on the earth. And they took her.
Let's go back to that day. What kind of day was it for you two?
It was a normal day. It was a relaxed day. Really just chilling and just being us. We went on a date, went out to eat, went back in the house, playing, watching a movie.
Take us to that moment when your life really changed forever.
It was a loud bang at the door. Nobody was responding when we were saying, who is it?
You all did ask, who is it?
Several times, both of us. And there was no response.
The police say that they said several times, it's the police.
If they knock on the door and say who it was, we can hear them. It's dead silent. I know 1,000,000% sure that nobody identified themselves.
So the next thing you hear, the door flies off the hinges. Are you feeling afraid?
Definitely afraid. But I don't have much room to be afraid because I got somebody here that I got to take care of.
So you hear the heavy knocking, and what do you do?
So now at that point, we're getting up to put on clothes, make ourselves decent to answer the door. Then I grabbed my gun.
We should also say you were licensed to carry the gun.
For sure. That was the one time I had to use it. I mean, if it was the police at the door and they just said we're the police, me or Brianna didn't have a reason at all not to open the door.
Again, I just got a message from Earl Price. I think he said he's ready to come onto the show. So I'm going to stop that and we'll try to set the stage for the brother to call in so we can hear what he has to say. And then perhaps we can get back to that. Or if not, then I'll get back to it tomorrow. We'll see what happens here. But, the man just said exactly what I thought. They had no reason not to open the door. If the police knock on the door, you open the door. If the police knock on my door right now, Cincinnati Police Department, I'm gonna open the door. Why are you here? How can I help you? We don't have no drugs. We ain't doing nothing illegal, so we ain't got nothing to hide. Why are you hiding? Why would you try to hide something and you don't have anything to hide? And then if y'all haven't seen that, of course, it's on World Star. Y'all need to go check that out. His side of the story is wild, man. He said he fired one shot, and then I think we noticed to be facts, like it was like over 20 shots that returned. Like 25, 26 shots was returned by 3 different officers. He was holding her hand when she was shot, as she was bleeding. Guess what this black man did? Guess what this black man did? He called her mama. He called her mama in the middle of it. Like, she had been shot, so I had to call her mother. He also called 911. Called 911 and said, somebody's trying to get in my house. They shot at us. I don't know who they are. Now, why would he call the police if he knew it was the police? It just don't add up. The more I watched that video, the more I realized just how full of ish Daniel Cameron really was. Talking about he ain't got no evidence. All you got to do is look at the evidence that was there. He said that he found out that Breonna Taylor had died when he was in a cell in the lockup facility. They didn't even tell him. He says he goes outside like, oh, it's going to be some help out here. Now, let me get this straight. You want me to believe that this black man knowingly fired a shot at police and then ran outside to the police? I don't believe it. Let's go to the phones here. Let's say good morning and welcome to the show.
Nathan?
Yeah, this is Nathan. This is Earl?
Hi. Yes, it is. How are you?
I'm doing great, Earl. Welcome to the show, man.
Well, okay. Glad to be here.
Yeah, most def.
You got a second?
Oh, most def. We talked yesterday, man. We've been waiting for this.
Okay.
For sure.
Really? All right.
Yeah, we definitely want to hear what you have to say. Well, let me set the table here. So currently right now in Hamilton County, it's election season. And one of the more hotly contested and more talked about elections or campaigns or races is the Hamilton County Sheriff's race, where right now you have Charmaine McGuffey, who's a Democrat candidate, against Bruce Hoffbauer, who's a Republican candidate. So this conversation, I want to give it the context here. And then, so it's been hotly contested. So last Friday, we got a phone call from Charmaine McGuffey, who said that there were some negative ads that were running on black radio. And she said there were a lot of lies. And in particular, she said there was a black man who was a former colleague of hers, that would be you, and she named you, who was on the campaign ad saying a lot of negative things about her that she said were straight up lies. And I told her then, I'm going to reach out to Mr. Price, see if I can get him on, because my interest is trying to make sure we have the most and the best information possible, right? And plus, I love the sizzle, to be honest with you. I'm about all of that. So I did reach out to you. And then yesterday, I got a text message from you, and you said you're willing to come on. And that's what leads us to this conversation right now. So just so people got the backstory on it. So thank you for your time, brother. Okay.
Not a problem. Can I tell you my side, if you don't mind?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm a major with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. I've got 35 plus years, with this office. And it's all about officer accountability. It's not about politics. We actually have a program called the ABLE program. It's Active Bystandership for Law Enforcement. It's out of Georgetown University in conjunction with a DC law firm. And it's all about really accountability. If an officer sees a fellow officer and even their supervisor doing something wrong, they're supposed to say something about it. Commissioner Parks, she actually initiated this with Sheriff Neal, and they both agreed, let's do it. And actually, I implemented the program, And in all honesty, I'm a sworn officer. Okay. There were depositions that I was involved in with Major McGuffey at the time. And after I went through all that, and I'm all about honesty. See, the thing is, when you tell the truth, you don't have to remember anything. It's only when you tell a lie that you have to backtrack. And as I said before, it's all about the reputation of this office, and I don't want to see her tear it down in all honesty. And, I'll tell you, I've known Charmaine McGuffey for a long time, and it's a situation where it's just like a kid. You do something wrong, and you want to blame somebody else. She did something wrong, quite a few things that were wrong, and it's all about her blaming someone else. And that's totally wrong, Nathan. That's totally wrong, and I cannot put up with that. The thing is, we all know as officers, and this is what society wants of us now. This is a test. It truly is. If you did something wrong, then say you did it and go ahead and accept the repercussions as a result of it. She doesn't want to accept the repercussions of what she did that was totally wrong. So then she gets in the line. And so the reason I decided to call you, and you reached out to me, and since you called me out, she wants the black votes. That's what she wants. And she's trying to appeal to the to the black audience. Well, I'm black. You're black. Okay? I grew up in black communities. I've gone to black churches. I've attended primarily black schools. And I'm not going to sit up there and let her disrespect me. And so when I listened to the content of what she had to say, I sensed some serious racial slurs there and accusations, and I don't like it. And I feel that I'm being attacked as a black man, as a family man, as a professional who rose through the ranks with distinction and honor through the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. I'm proud of my accomplishments in my career. And I'm not going to let her sit up there and put me down. There's one accusation that she made, and that is she said that she did not punch me. That's a daggone lie. She punched me. And it was somewhere around 2005, 2006. It was at the YWCA. It was women in the room. She tried to describe this like it was some kind of a boxing type thing. It wasn't a boxing thing. She has never, ever boxed a day in her life. It was a drill, really, and it wasn't even that. It was a demonstration. What it was, I just had her in a situation where she actually felt powerless. That's what it came down to. And she looked at me, she saw something, I looked in her eyes, and I knew something was wrong, and she just lost it. That's what it is. So the thing is, she came back and said, well, then I should have charged her years ago. No, because it's a thing called criminal intent. And when I looked at it, I didn't see where she actually acted purposely, knowingly, recklessly, or negligently. I didn't see where she did anything wrong in that behavior because of her state of mind. I knew that she lost it, okay? And so after the drill was over with, I asked her, I said, well, why'd you do that? She said, I didn't know. And I said, well, since you don't know, then you better find out because the next time you do this, I'm going to send you to the hospital. As simple as that. Okay? Because it's just that she lost it. I don't like the fact also, Nathan, that, yes.
Did you file a grievance when that happened?
Well, it was off site. It was off site. And I could have, she and we did a lot of stuff on the side. And, I didn't feel the need to do that at the time because of her state of mind, because I had worked with her over a period of time. We had done that drill hundreds and hundreds of times. And during that time period, I was heavily involved in the subject control self-defense arena. And so I had been around women who had lost it. I'd been around men who had lost it. And so in a situation like that, you want to work with them. But my thing is, her as an instructor, and since she was an accomplished instructor, like she said, then you should know better. And so my thing is, you better get it right because I'm going to do something about it the next time.
Okay.
And so that's how that really went down.
So Earl, here's what I'm hoping. And again, I want you to get your thoughts in. I want to hear your whole side of the story because that's the same amount of time we gave to Charmaine McGuffey did. The thing about it is you're not the opponent. You know what I'm saying? Bruce Hoffbauer.
I'm not the opponent. There you go.
Right. So
exactly.
I feel like honestly, it's a little bit unfair to Charmaine, only in the sense that I've reached out to Bruce Hoffbauer because on this, I don't know if you noticed or not, but it was this show that broke the story about what he did back in the 90s, killing an unarmed black man. And I reached out to Bruce Hoffbauer many times, and he chose to just straight up block and deny and disregard and downplay coming on the show. So since, and again, I'm a man of my word. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And I told you we would do this interview, but I have to be honest with you up front. I feel like it's a little bit unfair to Charmaine because she's come on the show many times and answered all the difficult questions. And I kind of feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, I kind of feel like, the Hoffbauer campaign sends you out here, right? And that's far easier for him than to come in here and answer questions for himself. So I want to make sure that, you're clear, that we're clear about, on some levels how I kind of look at this. But I'm a man of my word, and I still think that it's newsworthy, for our audience.
Right.
But I think that needs to be said. Like, I asked for Bruce to come on, and I get you on. And Bruce is the candidate.
Well,
it's his history.
Yeah, no.
And it's his history. Let me get it all out, Earl. It's his history, and it's what he's going to do that's really at stake here. Not necessarily what happened with you and Charmaine, although I still think it is.
Right.
Okay, so let's have an honest conversation this morning, as we finish with this. And I got to ask you, like, were you said you don't really get in politics, and again, I haven't heard the commercial that's running on Black Radio. I saw a YouTube commercial, or is that the same thing that's running where it was kind of you giving your testimony and your thoughts about Charmaine McDuffie? Okay, that's the same thing. Okay,
exactly.
So I did see it.
And Nathan, that wasn't done. That wasn't done for Bruce Hoffbauer. Okay,
but it's on Bruce Hoffbauer from Sheriff's YouTube channel. It's on his YouTube channel.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not due to intellectual property. That's not my property. Okay, that's actually Hamilton County Sheriff's Office property.
Right.
And so he took it and he utilized it, and he did. And so,
did he ask you for your permission?
I'm sorry.
Did he ask you for your permission? And how do you feel about him using your images, your likeness, and your words for his political campaign?
Well, I don't have any problem with it as long as it's the truth, and the truth came out. Okay, from my perspective, and that's all I was interested in. And as I said before, it's not about politics. And I realize that Charmaine has stated that he offered me a job. That's a complete lie. I don't know where she got that from. And matter of fact, how would she know? I mean, was there a conversation that she took part in? But no, he didn't offer me a job at all. Matter of fact, I mean, I can leave in a few months and I'm good to go for the rest of my life. Right. So I'm not hungry. I'm not thirsty. I don't need a job. So no, it's not about that.
If Bruce Hoffbauer is elected Hamilton County Sheriff, or do you plan to stay on in your role during his time as the Hamilton County Sheriff?
To be honest with you, I have never been asked that. I'm serious. I'll be honest with you. I'm thinking my game plan is right now is that, well, first of all, if they decided, either one of them, if they decided not to keep me, I'm going to go off into greener pastures. I mean, Charmaine McDuffie could have offered me a job as well. And that's a decision I would have to make at that time, in all honesty. And right now, I'm telling you, I'm thinking about just total retirement.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Have you had any conversations with the Hoffbauer campaign, or Bruce Hoffbauer, or anybody associated with this campaign?
If I did what? I'm sorry.
Have you had any conversations with Bruce Hoffbauer individually, or anybody associated with his campaign or the Republican Party?
No. Other than a meet and greet, and I know that on the courthouse grounds there was a photo shoot. He did ask me, say, "You mind standing in for my photo?" I said, "Sure, I'll stand in for your photo. I don't have any problem with that."
Okay.
Because I support all of law enforcement. I do. I really, really do. Because this is my life. That's what I'm about.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, he never, ever, ever offered me a job. I want to make that clear. Mm-hmm. And the only reason why this is an issue in the first place is because of what she did that was totally, totally wrong.
Okay, so let's talk more about that.
Okay, so the thing is, she wasn't investigated by Internal Affairs. And so my thing is, if you live your life right, Nathan, if you do the job the way you're supposed to, you're really supposed to be in concert with Internal Affairs. Okay, in all honesty. Then she had 31 employees that initiated allegations against her. And I was one of them, but I didn't initiate it, but I was called to deposition, and I didn't have any choice but to tell the truth, just like the other 30 employees. Okay? And what it was is the allegations were that, and which were sustained, they got her on bullying, they got her on creating a hostile work environment, showing favoritism and dishonesty. Okay? And that's just not right. And so, to be honest with you, she's trying to distract the public from her record of being an incompetent and failed leader. That's really what it comes down to. I've been a major for over a couple of years now. I've been in supervision for a long time. She made a statement that, well, the only way he got to the table is because they needed some representation at the table in terms of minorities. That's a flat lie. I was at the table even as a captain. Okay? I was at the table then for many, many discussions. I was in the decision-making process many times over. And I look at my situation now, I oversee the records section, the fusion center, training, hiring, recruiting. I have a bachelor's degree and a graduate degree. And I am not going to sit there and let somebody try to put me down like, well, you know, he's just a dumb 6'4" black man that she described me as. That's bullcrap. And I'll be honest with you, Nathan, she can go to hell for that. Now, I don't care how you want to twist this thing, but I know that I'm an honest man. And anybody that knows me, they know my daggone record.
So let's speaking with Brother Earl Price. So Earl, I want to go through all of this, man. I want to give you the proper time so you can get your side of the story out, and I appreciate you calling in. Mm-hmm. But then take me back to this whole incident. You said this happened in like 2005, 2006. So I want to get a sense of the nature of your relationship with Charmaine McGuffey. So how long did the two of you work together?
We worked together. She said 20 years. I'm going to say a little bit over 17 years. I've actually known her since the UC days. We did an undergraduate degree together at UC, and I graduated a couple of years before she did.
Okay, you graduated before.
So I've known her for a long time. Yes.
So did you both go into the sheriff's department at the same time, or who went in first?
I did.
You did. Okay, and you both rose in the ranks together. So when did? Again, you might know this, and I just don't have it in my head, but at some point she left the sheriff's department. Is that correct?
Yes, she did.
And what year was that?
That was over a couple of years ago. I don't know the exact year when she left, but I know it was a little over 2 years ago, yes.
So about 2018, 2017, something like that?
Yeah, somewhere around there,
okay.
Yes.
Okay. And so throughout that entire time, did the two of you work together? It sounded like you did.
We worked together for a great number of years. I ran a program before I went to training. I was involved in the work release program back in the day. And so then administration felt that I would be a good trainer. And so they asked me if I wanted to do it because they felt that I had a lot of talent, a lot of skills, a strong skill base. And so I got involved in training. And so she was my supervisor when I first started. And I became a lieutenant while being in training, and she became a captain while being in training.
Oh, okay.
And so we just went with it, and we taught academy recruits for corrections, and we taught throughout the tri-state with other organizations as well.
Okay, so you went into the sheriff's department a little bit before she did, but it sounds like she rose faster in rank than you did. Is that correct?
Well, because of the route that we took.
Right.
All right. Okay. She was in corrections, and actually I was the director of a community-based program at the time. And so the program became defunct, and they asked me, what do I want to do? Do I want to get in some other division? And training came up, and I said, you know what? Let me try my hand at training. Mm-hmm. And that's how it happened.
Okay. So she rose faster than you did. Okay, that's interesting. So basically, you worked under her for a lot of years.
Yeah, I did. I did.
And so you say this incident happened in 2005. You was doing some training off-site, which the two of you, and she said that you guys that did this. What Charmaine McGuffey said is that you guys were friends. She said that you had went to her house and went to parties with her friends and things like that, and that y'all was cool. And she was shocked to see that you felt so strongly about all of these things. Is that true? Were you guys friends? Did y'all go to parties together and things like that?
Well, I'll tell you, Nathan. I can go to lunch with you, have dinner with you. I can go over to your house, and we can be associates. We have a good working. We had a good working relationship, and so this thing about friends, we were. Let's just put it like this: there was always that supervisor-subordinate relationship. All right, and I never took that out of context. Okay, I stayed within the lines like I'm supposed to, and I got around 100 people that work for me right now, Nathan. Okay, and my point being is that I'm not closer with any of them like that, like a friend, because you got to be a professional. And so she and I, we were professionals with each other. It's just simple as that.
Okay. And that extended. So you guys were never
Nothing.
friends. Because you said y'all was friendly.
We were.
Matter of fact, I got an image right now of you up on the screen at the party and things like that. You're saying that's more like a professional relationship, just doing what you got to do.
Yeah, you can, I mean, yeah. I mean, you know, that's just, I mean, it happens in the business world all the time.
Right.
But it doesn't mean that you're chums, right?
So
It's nothing like that.
So did you attend parties at her house and do friendly sort of social engagements after that incident in 2005, 2006?
I don't recall that. In all honesty, I never even thought about that. We still got along, as I told you before. She got her act together. Okay, after that, and we still maintain a professional relationship. But this thing about us being friends, I don't know what the twist is with that, because to me that doesn't make any sense. Professionalism is professionalism, and so my point being is that I knew that she had a problem, okay, with that center of balance, that mental balance. And I knew that, okay, after I got the punch. I said, well, let's see how this thing works out. And we were able to work it out. Okay,
so
we're just simply able to work it out.
So if you worked it out, why are you bringing it up now, Earl? That's what just keeps hitting me. Like, you're 6'4", and she's 5'7".
Right.
Like, I used to play basketball with a lot of dudes. I caught a bunch of elbows.
Right.
In the moment, I'm like, Negro, what's up? But it's basketball. It sounds to me like you guys are doing training. When humans are doing that kind of stuff, somebody might get in their feelings indoors. Somebody gets a slip of the palm, or your guard goes down or whatever. It sounds like me. It's like, it sounds relatively small. And then it sounds like you guys worked it out. Why bring it up now? Here we are 19 days away from a really serious election in which she's a candidate.
Because the thing is, when you're going through depositions, okay, and someone's asking you about an individual, and I don't have the depositions in front of me, it's open for public record. Anybody out there can take a look at it. Things come up, and you cannot lie about that individual. It's just simple as that. You cannot lie, Nathan. Okay?
Oh, yeah, but this isn't a deposition, though. This is a talk show. And what I'm saying is, if this situation happened back in 2005, 2006, I mean, you know how things are. I'm sure it's not the first time you was doing training and somebody slipped your guard or, you know, you got somebody swung and it was a little harder than what it was. I mean, it sounds like that's, take it like a man. It was over 15 years ago. So again, why bring this up now if you guys worked it out and she was all good? I mean, it just seems very politically convenient.
Because it was still a wrong act, Nathan. It was still a wrong act. And if I really want to take the abusive route, I can take that route as well. And I chose not to do that because, see, Nathan, you've had plenty of men, plenty of women that were abused by people, and they didn't bring it out till years later. And then you turn around and you ask them, well, why were you abused? Well, there are many, many, many reasons why they were abused, Nathan. And then the other part, you can say, well, wait a minute. Well, we were friends. That's bull crap. That's to cover up the daggone abuse.
Yeah, but Earl, what you described was not abuse. What you described was essentially an accident during training.
What I described was, it wasn't an accident. It was a state of mind that she went into a twilight zone. That's what that was all about. Okay. And my thing is that I feel that affects her as a leader. Also, she does not like to feel powerless. Okay, so when you put the two components together, you're talking about a complex personality here, Nathan. This is not somebody that you meet every day. And this is also somebody that's a trainer just as myself. We've been training for years, and you know how to put the act on. And this is an act that she has right now. And what it is, I'm calling her to order. The same way she called me out, I'm calling her out. And I'm saying that she's fooling the citizens of Cincinnati, of Hamilton County, with the bull crap, and there's some racial overtones here from coming from the 6-foot black man that she's full of crap, and that's really the bottom line there. The thing is, you pull my. I'm sorry.
I hear you, Earl. I hear you, but I'm a 6'4" black man. All right, who lives in Hamilton County.
Well, I'm 6'1".
Okay, you're 6'1", but I'm 6'4". Okay, I play basketball with a lot of dudes. Some of them I like better than others, and some of them dudes who maybe I wasn't cool with have sometimes slipped in an elbow or, it's a hard foul. You brush it off, you get up, ball out. And it sounds like this was a training incident. And again, I'm not here to minimize your abuse. But again, from the outside looking in, I'm like, well, one, it sounds like training. Whenever you're doing any kind of sparring, like for instance, man, you can be pillow fighting with your wifey and she slip one in and boom, whap you in the head. That ain't abuse, okay? That's just you slipped your guard or she got a lucky shot in. And then when this happened back in 2005, you yourself said you didn't follow up on it. You didn't file a grievance or do anything. Since 2005, it appears because of this, all these images of you out here on social media right now at her parties and things like that. And you at the party, you know, having a good time after this incident. But then it sounds like, again, I'm reiterating, it sounds like a broken record. Now here it is, 2020, 19 days before this election when she's running against Bruce Hoffbauer. And you're coming out with this. It seems like it's all politically real convenient in an attempt to try to have an impact on the upcoming election. But you're saying that's not what this is.
That's not what it is. And the deposition I originally took, it was way before the elections. The first deposition I took with Internal Affairs, that was actually a couple of years ago. Okay, that's before any of this came about, right? And as I said before, Nathan, I had to tell the truth. I've been playing sports for years, Nathan, and I know what you mean, right? I hear you. But the thing is, though, is this, okay, you can tell on a professional level when something is a good possibility that it might have been personal, but you didn't pick up on it at the time. And then you see a person's actions later on. Nathan, if I had to hit you, you know what I would say? I would say, I'm sorry, you're 6'4", and you're going to assess as to whether or not I really meant it or not, right? But then 2 years later, Nathan, if I act like, man, you know what? I don't really care. I don't care what happened. And I said, well, wait a minute, hold on for a second. And not talking about the hit that I gave you, but years later, if I'm talking about something else, and you might come across your mind and say, hey, you know what? Gerald Price, really, did he actually elbow me? Was that on purpose? And it's going to make you think. And I know you've gone down that route before, especially in playing basketball, because you know how guys like to talk. You know that. But if it ain't personal, it ain't personal, and it'll never come out that way, Nathan.
Well, you know how it is in basketball.
Like that.
I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off, Earl. Go right ahead.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I didn't mean to undercut you, man. Go right ahead and finish your flows.
Okay, so what I'm saying is this. When you look at my record, I got an impeccable record, okay? It's not about the politics. And as I said before, we are sworn to tell the truth about people, okay? And my point being is that I've seen what she's done to a lot of employees. You got employees within the sheriff's office that are afraid for her to come back and take over as sheriff because they feel that there's going to be some serious retaliation. My thing is, I ain't got nothing to worry about, Nathan. I'm good to go. But the thing is, I'm looking out for everybody else. Okay?
Do you feel that way?
People are afraid to talk up. See, this is why people are afraid to talk up, Nathan, because the thing is, people want to chew them up. There's some people that can actually talk, and they're not lying. Now, I'm not lying. Okay?
I'm not saying you are.
Music, and I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to talk up. You see, but the thing is, though, at some point, you got to tell the truth.
Okay, so tell me more about the truth, Earl. Tell me more about the truth. So tell me, what Charmaine McGuffey has said is that when she spoke out about abuse and about things that were wrong inside the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department, that Sheriff Jim Neal, current Sheriff Jim Neal, white male Democrat, what appears to be in name only in the Democrat part, that he retaliated against her and trumped up a lot of this stuff, got a lot of people to say negative things about her to get her out of the way. What do you think about that? I mean, do you agree with what she said? Did you see any of that?
Totally. I'm going to tell you something. One thing about Sheriff Neal, he is really a nice guy, really nice guy. And the administration that's in place, and I'm a part of it, it's not, they can't do that. We're not about that. That's not how we roll, in all honesty. If that was the case, I wouldn't even be here because I don't have to be here right now. And I'm here to tell you, I'm here to tell you that's not true. The way she moved up is because the sheriff felt that she was credible. And what happened when she became major, the power got to her head. That's what it was. She changed. Instead of taking care of business like the budget, managing people, okay, taking care of her shops, jail and court services like she was supposed to, she was out there in the limelight. That's really what it came down to. She was out there in the daggone limelight, wanted to be seen. Okay, that's what it was. And then you got use of forces going down the pike. And then when she got wind of use of the force, she has no investigative experience, and so she really got in the way of internal affairs. She jacked it all up, and then she thought that a lot of times it was the inmates' problem. I mean, the officer's problem. When in essence, it was the inmate's problem. She didn't know what she was doing, and then she became a headache to the prosecutor's office. She became a headache to judges.
So okay, so it sounds like I'm trying to glean little nuggets from here. So it sounds like with your second to last statement that there were some incidences when Charmaine McGuffey was finger pointing what she believed was abuse from sheriff deputies and not the inmates. Isn't that what you just said?
Exactly.
Okay.
Right. And
that seems to back up some elements of what I've heard out there. Yeah. Let me ask you this. So you've been, have you ever worked in corrections down at the JC?
I've always been at the JC. Started out as a trainer. Okay. And I've always been on the fringes. I'm one of the kind of guys that I'm really good at being an innovator, being an administrator. Okay. I know how to make things happen behind the scenes. I know how to create positive results, positive outcomes. That's what I do. I can look at an officer and I can tell you how to develop a good officer. I've been involved in training throughout the state and even sometimes across the country. And so I was never, ever a correction officer.
Okay.
But I can tell you the makeup of a correction officer as well as a police officer. And that's one of the things I'm really, really, truly, truly good at. And I know how to really bring the best out of people.
Okay, that's great to hear. So, having said that, Earl, my next question for you is: having spent 35 years, am I wrong in that? 35 years, Hamilton County Sheriff's Department, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a good long career. So, have you ever seen any examples of law enforcement misconduct? I'm not speaking of. I'm saying other than Charmaine McGuffey. Brutality. Any examples like that you've called out? On the record during your 35-year career?
If I got wind of it, I called it out. If I got wind of it. But have I ever seen it personally? No, I haven't. And I'll tell you why. Because people who know me, everybody knows me. All right? And they'll tell you, if I'm even thinking, do not do that around Major Price.
Right.
Because he'll call you out on it. He'll pull your butt off the person. He will write you behind up. It's just simple as that. And I'll get your butt fired or even thrown in jail through legal proceedings if I have to.
So you have done that before? So you have gone to the sheriff, Jim Neal, or whoever the sheriff was at the time, during your 35-year career and said, listen, this deputy over here is on some wrong stuff. That has happened before? You have done that?
I have. What I've done, I have, I've gone to Neal, okay, if I felt that there were issues, matters of concern, if we needed more training for people or people that we need to watch, and not individually, but situations. I look for pockets. You look for communication with officers, and if it doesn't seem right, and because everything's got to pass what we call a smell test here. If it doesn't smell right, okay, let's prevent it before it even happens. Or I've critiqued situations, and I say, hey, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this. And one thing about the guys in all the divisions, if they look at tapes all the time, and they'll actually, if there's something wrong, subject control wise, if the officer's at fault, they'll give it to IA with the quickness, and that's the way it's always been that way. I'm telling you, it's always been that way. We can never, ever, ever cover anything up. You can't do that. And because I don't like to be investigated. I don't like to go to court, Nathan. And you ain't going to catch me in a situation where, oh, man, he just flat out lied. Okay? It ain't going to happen like that.
Huh. Okay.
And if it did, Nathan, and talking to you now, when you're doing your research, you would have brought it up by now.
I would have brought what up by now?
If I was actually covering something up, you'd have brought it up.
Well, to be honest with you, I don't have enough available information about you and your history to know whether you're covering something up or not. All I can do is give you a straightforward opinion about what I'm hearing and in the context in which it's coming out. And I think I've been straight up honest with you. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I do have my suspicions about you, Earl, because of the timing of it. It seems all too convenient. And also because of the
You know,
overall
I
impact
get
and
you. I
nature
get
of your claims. I mean, this whole thing about she
yeah,
sucker punched you back in 2005 sounds like whining to me. It kind of comes across
yeah,
like
yeah.
maybe you had a grudge with
Well, I'll tell
her.
you. No. Let me tell you this. Let me tell you this, Nathan. You know, when you work for an organization and you try to get along as best you can, and you got to be the best that you are. I don't want to get into the weeds and every little thing. And no, I'm not a whiner, but I can tell that when a person wants to hold you down, and you know, and so someone might say, well, how come I didn't say that before? Well, I'm not going to discuss on the air in terms of every little thing about her in terms of trying to hold me down, but I
But
strongly
you should
felt
though. But you
that
should though, Earl.
she tried to, huh?
So
I'm
you're
sorry.
saying she tried to
What you
hold
say?
you down. You should talk about that. Like if you're going to
Oh,
allow yourself, and not just allow yourself, but you're going to endorse a candidate to the point where you're a part and a willing participant
mm-hmm,
in a negative ad
mm-hmm,
campaign or any ad campaign. I just feel like the community deserves
mm-hmm,
to hear the specifics of what your issues are. And so far, I mean, again, your opinion
yeah,
is what it is. I can't tell you that you're lying.
yeah,
You know, that's your opinion. But
yeah.
again, that whole thing about a 2005, that just sounds like weakness to me. I'll be honest with you. I mean, rub
Yeah.
some dirt on it,
Well,
keep on
anybody knows.
going.
Well, I'm not a weak person, but
I'm
I'm a
not
smart
saying you
person,
are. I'm not saying you
and
are. I'm just telling you how it's coming
so
across to me.
mm,
You know, it's like, hey, get over
and I
it.
get
Big
it.
deal.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I get it.
And did she hit you in
I
the
get it.
face, or where exactly did she strike you back in 2005, 2006 exactly?
Nathan, it was in the jaw.
She hit you in the jaw.
It was in the jaw.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
But my point being, Nathan, but where I'm coming from is that with certain people, okay, it takes a while to assess them to see where they're coming from. And some people, they don't bring out the true colors till later on. And then when you find out about it later on, it's like, hey, wait a minute for a second. And all I'm here to tell you that in 2013, I was able to put the past and the present together. And I didn't like what I saw after 2013. Okay? And she became really big. She had a big ego. And she felt that she wanted to be a lieutenant colonel. So she wanted to be over all the majors, and it's just the ego thing. That's what I really, really didn't like.
Okay.
And my thing is, we're all about the employees here, because if you treat the employees to be humble, then they're going to be humble with society, Nathan. It's just simple as that.
I think that's all fair.
People,
and again, I think it's all fair, Earl. But listen, I want to get a few more questions. Is why I got you. I mean, I think that's all fair. So, how do you feel about the fact that Bruce Hoffbauer killed an unarmed man back in the 90s, and to this day has no remorse for it, and it said essentially that it was suicide by cop? And again, the man he killed was unarmed. Does that impact you? How do you feel about that?
And I thought about that. And so what happened, okay, back then is different now. All right. Right now we have what is called crisis intervention training. And so that teaches you that there are more options available to you if your life is not threatened. Okay, when you're dealing with somebody that's mentally challenged. Okay? And so in his situation, you had somebody that was apparently on drugs. They were deranged. They were coming at him. They were closing the gap. And he didn't have as many tools on his tool belt back then as we do now. And even though I have never worked in corrections as a correction officer, I've done outside details, where I've taken over law enforcement details, and I've dealt with a lot of special needs people, a lot of alcoholics, a lot of people that are drug dependent, and they were at that heightened sense whereby they wanted to hurt somebody. I've had people close the gap on me over the years. And so the thing is,
Did you have a firearm?
I have more tools. Did I have to do what? I'm sorry.
Earl, you said you've had people close the gap on you, right? In those situations,
yes.
Did you have a firearm?
Yes.
Did you fatally shoot them?
No. But
that's my point.
I have more tools on my tool belt. But see, no. But see, like I told you before, Nathan, back then they only had a gun and probably a baton or PR-24 back then. And I don't even know if they had mace. He was with the city, so we're counting.
Right.
But my point being, I can't speak for that. All I'm here to tell you, in law enforcement, we have more tools on our tool belt now. We even have what's called a bolo wrap, right now, the city and the county, okay, that's being issued to many of our officers so they can deal with. And that's it's like a net type thing.
Yeah, I know
So
what
you
it
get
is.
somebody
But you know what?
that's
Let me
you
jump
can't-
in here.
but
I
we
got to
didn't
be
have-
honest
they
with
didn't
you,
have that
Earl.
back then.
I got to be honest with you, Earl. Really, and I'm gonna be honest with you. If Bruce was a stand-up man, not even a candidate, but man, I would be having that conversation with him. It kind of burns me up that I reached out to him. He denied it, didn't want to talk with this particular medium and me in particular. And now I'm having this conversation with you, a black man, defending him. That's kind of burning me up right now because he's the candidate.
Well, I'm not defending him.
No, I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. It's burning me up right now because he's the candidate, and we, the people, deserve to hear from him and not you. But since you're here, the issue is not whether he had more or less tools at his disposal. It's whether you're going to use lethal force on somebody who didn't have a weapon. That's the real issue. So I've heard Bruce made that same argument about, well, we had less tools back then. But you yourself said that you had a situation where somebody closed the gap on you and you didn't kill him. So why would we give Bruce Hoffbauer a pass on this?
Well, that's something that he's going to talk to you about.
Yeah, but I'm asking you because you're stumping for him. You're campaigning for him. Doesn't that bother you?
No, I'm
that
not,
you
I'm
were
not,
in that
I'm not
situation as a member of law enforcement and you didn't kill an unarmed black man. So why would you give this white guy a candidate, any man, but in particular, he's a white male? Why would you give him that kind of latitude when he didn't have the care and compassion that you yourself had displayed? Does that bother you?
Like I said before, I thought about it. And my thing is this. I wasn't in his shoes. I wasn't in the building. Hold on one second. I wasn't in the building that went down. I have met people, though. I will tell you this. All right, when I was in my top, when I was in the best shape I ever could have been in, I have encountered people that I thought to myself, oh, my goodness, I'm glad other officers are here, because it took 3 or 4 of us to get that individual down, okay? Now, if I'm by myself, Nathan, okay, and that person is much more stronger and I psychologically don't think I can handle that person, you know, I put my hands on thousands and thousands of people and I can tell. And I tell you, it's just that my calling card hasn't come up yet. It just hasn't come up.
Yeah, but Bruce Hoffbauer wasn't alone that day. He had a partner right next to him.
I'm sorry.
I said Bruce Hoffbauer wasn't alone that day. He had a partner right next to him. 2 trained police officers with weapons had to kill an unarmed black man because he was showing mental illness. And but that's a lesser offense to you than Charmaine McGuffey slipping your guard back in 2005?
Well, here's something else. Charmaine McGuffey was working a detail for me years ago. As soon as I walked out of detail, somebody knocked her out, gave her a concussion. They knocked her out.
Okay.
And she had a weapon on. Okay? She had a weapon on. All right, since we're talking, Nathan, she had a weapon on, and the officers told me about it, and they had to grab the individual because she was standing behind the individual. She was patting her down, and the thing is, he reached back, and he knocked the crap out of her, knocked her clean out with her weapon on. He could have jumped on her and blew her brains out, simple as that.
But what's your
by the
point?
grace of God, other officers were there present, and they were able to help her out.
What's the point of that story, Earl? What is that? What are we supposed to glean from that?
This is the point of the story, because unless you're a police officer and you're involved in situations, and at that time, you cannot play it out if it's not on video. You cannot play it out and say what anybody should have done. Okay, I could have said that the Charmaine McGuffey was at fault, right, for patting the guy down too closely. But that would be unfair for me to do that. All right, it put her life in jeopardy. Or I could say that Bruce Hoffbauer, he could have been right or he could have been wrong. I can't say either way because I wasn't there at the time. I didn't know the threat level. I didn't see the guy he was dealing with. My partner that's working right next to me, I don't know if they're on point or not. I don't know how they're perceiving the situation. But my point being is that when my heart rate goes up and my life's in jeopardy and somebody's too close to me, I got to do something.
It's
as simple as that.
I understand.
All right, now we got a lot more tools to deal with, and I am not trying to back him up. I'm just saying that I was not in his shoes at that time.
I get it.
Okay?
I get it. But we, the public, can only judge people in terms of what they might do in the future based upon what they've done in the past. And in the past, Bruce Hoffbauer panicked. He panicked in that situation. Call it what it is, Earl. He panicked. because you didn't panic.
Yeah.
You just said yourself you was in the same
No.
situation, but you did not panic. He panicked and killed an unarmed
No, I
man
didn't.
and covered it up with some BS about suicide by cop. And again, if he was a real man, he would be here having this conversation instead of sending you or you being here in his stead. It's just burning me up.
Well, you know, yeah. Well,
It's
you know,
burning me up
he
on
didn't
that.
send me. You know that. You know, I got called out. Let's get this right now. You know that.
You're right. You're saying
She
you
called
got
me
called out and you're responding on
Come
your
on
own
now.
and not
Come
on
on
Bruce
now.
Hoffbauer's request. I
Come on.
get it.
I'm Nathan. I'm on my own here. I'm talking about the sanctity of the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office and a professional organization as it is.
Let's talk
and
about
I'm
that
here
office.
to tell you that we have a good reputation. Okay,
Right.
We actually do.
Let's
Okay?
talk about that
But,
office. Let's talk about that
what's
office.
that?
Do you think that in terms of the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office today, that the diversity levels are where they need to be, in your opinion? Do you think that the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department, and I'm talking about the command staff, the upper echelon, is it as diverse as it needs to be?
It needs to be more diverse. And but let me tell you this. Let me tell you what's going on here. I'm in charge of hiring and recruiting. I actually have Sergeant Michelle Moore. She's a black sergeant, female sergeant, right? And I worked to get her in here so she could actually work on getting more African Americans in here. But she's not the first, though. We had another guy some years ago, African American male officer. He was really good at recruiting people. The problem is, though, okay, since we're going here, a lot of blacks that get within the law enforcement agencies, they're kind of leery about moving up. And so when I talk to them, I tell them, I said, look, this is something I've done my entire life. Okay, I'm not afraid. All right, and so you got to be willing to take on a challenge, Nathan. And so what we're going to do, what we're trying to do, and I know I've only got a few months here, but I was talking to Michelle the other day, Sergeant Moore. I was telling her, I said, let's work on a mentorship program. And this is what they do in a lot of other organizations, a lot of colleges. Bring black African Americans in, talk to them, okay? See what their issues are, see what their goal is, you know, between now and retirement, and those that really want to move up in supervision or maybe other assignments. Let's talk about how we're going to do that. I have personally mentored people for years. Okay, but my point being is that we're now trying to attract more and more and more African Americans. The door is open. All you got to do is apply. And I know that for a fact because I'm in charge of it. And this is what we do.
Well, speaking of being in charge,
hard at it.
Speaking of being in charge, and thank you again. Speaking of being in charge, and again, I appreciate your time, Earl. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. So we, the people, and a lot of people who listen to this show are not just voters, but they're influencers. They influence other people to vote here in Hamilton County. So this is a very timely conversation.
I used to listen to you on Sunday morning.
Oh, really? Okay, appreciate it.
I don't know. Yeah, I did.
Appreciate it.
I did. Every Sunday morning, I listened to you.
I appreciate you, man. But let me get back into this. So I asked you that diversity question for an issue because I think in these days and times, especially for black voters and concerned voters, you know, the levels of diversity in the positions of especially, you know, authority, right? The upper echelons is super, super important. So I was the moderator for the NAACP and the Prince Hall Masons town hall for the Hamilton County Sheriffs. And we had Bruce Hoffbauer on, although we had some audio issues. We had Sharmila Guffey on, and the question came up about diversity, which I thought was a very, very good question. And, you know, I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. So when asked about the diversity levels, Sharmila McGuffey said, we got a lot of work to do. You know, we got some work to do, not satisfied with it. When we asked Bruce Hoffbauer, he said, well, the diversity levels, the current diversity levels in the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department represents growth, as if he was satisfied with it. And you yourself said that we need, you know, the levels of diversities are not good enough. So I'm just trying to figure out how your viewpoint and experience lines up with Bruce in terms of what he says he's going to do as Hamilton County Sheriff and his particular viewpoints about diversity and other things. I mean, were you aware of his viewpoint on that?
Right. No, I wasn't. But I will tell you this, though. Both of them seem to be right, because it's always a work in progress, and you can never take that away. And I would tell you this, I know for a fact that I just signed off on, oh my goodness, let's see, 4 African Americans to go up for advanced training to become trainers themselves, and so they can actually follow my path. Okay, because
Yeah.
I'm leaving a legacy.
But Earl,
Okay,
Earl,
and
Earl,
I'm
that's
sorry.
not the question though. The question is, you're a black man. You stated that very, very clearly. You're a proud black man. You don't want nobody challenging you. We're talking about diversity in the Hamilton County Sheriff Department. You got 2 candidates. You're there. You just said diversity is not where it needs to be. You got one candidate, McGuffey, saying it's not where it needs to be. We got to do more. You got another that says we've already grown. That doesn't bother you? I mean, in terms of the future of who will be the Hamilton County Sheriff Department?
No, they're tests. They're tests that are given. In most cases, all right, Nathan, you have to take an exam. And my point being is that if African Americans don't take the test, then you ask yourself why. Okay? You ask yourself why. You got to take a test. The test is posted, okay, throughout the entire agency. We just had a test not too long ago. I was involved in the interview process. We actually, it was a grant for Lincoln Heights. And we interviewed a lot of people. And there's some African Americans that they passed. They're going to be working in Lincoln Heights in the near future. But my concern is I like to see people also, minorities, in positions of authority as well. I would really, really like to see that.
So if you like to see it, Earl, why haven't we seen it? What's been the barrier to diversify the upper echelons of the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department? You've been there for 35 years. You're a major. What's been the barrier?
Right. It's not the glass ceiling. It's what it is. This. You got to want to do it. You got to want to put the work in. All right. It takes a lot.
So
of
black
work
folks don't want to work.
Do what I've done. Well, Nathan, I'm not saying black folks don't want to work, but I tell you one thing: to do what you do, you got to work it. You're running a one-man show. What I do here, I started out in 2013. Okay, it was only just myself revamping training. Now I got a full-time training staff. Okay, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of creativity. When I get off the phone with you, I got to go to work. I was at a staff meeting this morning. Some people don't want to do that. And they'll look at that and say, that's not for me.
So black people don't want to work, and that's the reason why we don't see more diversity in Hamilton County. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm just trying to tell you that's how it's coming across, Earl.
No. Just like, no, Nathan, you got to want to do it. And my point being is this. You can put it out in front of everybody, so it's like, we're an equal lawyer. We get you in the door, so why not take the test? When I go up and we have an academy in session right now, I haven't spoken to them yet, and these are all new people. And so the first thing I do when I talk to them, I know just like everybody else, the sky is the limit with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. All you got to want to do is do the work and learn to do the basic things really, really well first. But my point being is that I can't pull you to the lake and to the pond and make you drink it. I can't do that. You got to want to do it. You got to want to do it. And so then if you take the test and you don't score as well, then you'll still be on the list. And when your time comes up, you'll be good to go. But I want to see people, African Americans, minorities, take these supervisory tests. Don't be afraid of the test because you got to study. There's a lot of work. All right. So it's an individual thing. It has nothing to do with a black thing. It's an individual thing. Either you want to do it or you don't want to do it. And that's what it is. It has nothing to do with the upper echelon trying to keep people down.
Okay. I hear you. Hey, Earl, just a couple more questions, man, then I'll let you do what you do, man. I really appreciate your time. So I want to make sure we understand this timeline. So Charmaine McGuffey, you and Charmaine McGuffey worked together intimately, very closely for about 17 years. You're saying that back in 2005, 2006, y'all was at a training off-site, and she slipped your guard and sucker punched you and hit you in the jaw. You told us you also got over it, and the two of you worked together. There's images of you out there at her parties, friends' birthday parties or whatever, and you're seem to be, having a good time. You're saying that was more work related, just you being a good subordinate, and or just being a good team player. My question is,
you try to work with people. You try to work with people.
I get it. You're right. You're right.
You try to forgive. You try to forget. You try to work with people.
You just can't forgive.
That's really what it's about. It's human interaction. That's all it is.
And you're saying
it's just like you've been in a fight or you've been in a fight before with somebody.
Yeah, I know.
Can you ever try to make up or whatever? Can you try to really do that?
So when you were going to the parties on the low, you didn't really want to beat her and mess with her, but just to go along and get along. Now, was she your direct supervisor at any particular time during y'all working relationship?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I get it. The supervisor's having a party. you want to go, despite how you feel about the
if somebody
supervisor.
invites you, if somebody invites you to a Christmas party or a birthday party, that's what it was about.
Yeah, well, it depends. So I've been invited before. If I don't rock with you, I ain't going. But I get it. If it's like a supervisor type of dynamic, you want to go and show your face and smile and all that kind of stuff. I get it.
Right.
But
right.
Did you ever file any grievances with Jim Neal? Were you one of those many individuals that filed like official grievances because of things that happened between you and Charmaine McGuffey before she left?
I was involved in depositions.
So that means they called you in and said, hey, here's what we're hearing. What do you think? But you never had a written sort of grievance against her?
Well, it wasn't a grievance, but what I did, though, during the depositions, I spoke the truth.
Yeah,
That's what I did.
Right, but I'm saying, you're saying you had
truth.
all these issues with her, but I'm just asking, did you ever officially document it to run it up the hierarchy because you felt like she was a real threat to what was going on inside the Hamilton County Sheriff Department?
Well, you can't. That's not what you do because you feel that somebody's a threat. That's not what you do. You don't file a grievance based on that. You file a grievance based on the action. And just like you had questioned me about getting hit, that's the only thing that would have been grievable at the time. But other than that, you got to wait and see what people do, how they manage people. When you find out that people, they're incompetent, they're not a good manager, there's an issue. I'm a major, okay? I'm a major, and I have proven that I'm not incompetent. She is incompetent. It's just as simple as that.
What was Charmaine McGuffey?
I gotta leave.
What was Charmaine McGuffey's rank before she left? I just don't remember.
Major.
Okay, so she rose to the same rank as you, Earl. Y'all both were majors.
I know.
So
I know, but she didn't last. She didn't last.
Well, she didn't last, and you said her earlier. It sounds like it's what she says, and even you kind of backed it up, is because she started calling out the actions of sheriff deputies, and it wasn't well received. You said that yourself earlier. So are you endorsing?
No, she didn't. No. I said no. It was. I said she didn't know what she was doing.
No, you said that she was.
Getting it all wrong.
No, you said at one point. You said that, but Earl, just so you can be clear on this, you did say in the conversation that she was blaming sheriff deputies for things that were the fault of the inmates. That's what you said.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
And she didn't have, and so when you're that way, my point being, you're working with a lot of different components, and as a leader, you got to know what you're doing, Nathan. She didn't know what she was doing. That's really the bottom line.
I get it.
And that's one of the things. That's one of the things that really hurt her because she just didn't know how to manage people, and also. Let's put it like this. When you're berating people, you're creating a hostile work environment, you're making people afraid. That's an issue, Nathan. And you can't be going around just bullying people. And, that's my thing is you're going to call someone else a bully, but you're a bully too. Then you're going to talk about systematic racism when you're at the hub of it. You're the one that's crushing people. She was crushing people. When she was in charge, my point being is that I got almost 100 people working for me. I don't have people saying that I'm being, I can't be a racist, but my point being is I'm being derogatory towards them. Okay? I don't have that. I don't have that.
Yeah, but we wouldn't know because it sounds like the culture that you played along with is that even if you got a problem with somebody, you stay in line and don't say anything as long as they're your direct supervisor because that's what you did with Charmaine McGuffey. You only came out once she left. You became a major.
In most cases,
but you was going to the parties.
In most cases,
Earl, you were going to the parties. Earl, you were going to the parties.
Mm-hmm.
You was drinking out the red cup. You was chilling. You wasn't filing no grievances. You wasn't bringing things up until it was something that you couldn't get away with. So it sounds like there might be somebody in your staff right now that feels that way about you, but they're not going to say anything because perhaps they're afraid of the culture of somebody coming back at you. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like.
Right.
But let me ask you this: Have you been paying attention to like the forums and the debates? What has Charmaine McGuffey said during the debates that you're at odds with? Based upon some of the policy ideas and the direction that she wants to take the Hamilton County Sheriff Department. Has she said something or anything, or maybe multiple things that stand out to you based upon your experience that is wrong?
I haven't had a chance to listen to any of that. In all honesty, I want to do that. I really, really want to do that because I don't know what her platform is.
Earl, she's been running since last year. You haven't paid attention to any of her interviews, any of the forums,
No.
any of the debates. They've been
No,
on
I haven't.
television, Earl.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I'll tell you why. Because I don't look at her as a leader, okay, for the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. And be honest with you, I just don't want to listen to it. All right? That's really what it comes down to.
Well, have you paid
I do
attention to
not
anything
want
that Bruce
listen to it.
Hoffbauer said, any of his policy ideas, the direction that he wants to take the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department?
I have heard him. Actually, a couple of his segments came up. It did come up on Facebook. I listened to him. And, he seemed like he's pretty good to me. I don't have any issue with it so far. And so I just think that,
Other than the fact he could have unarmed black
more
men,
stable.
and other than the fact that you guys see diversity in the Hamilton County Sheriff's Department completely differently, other than that, you're saying he seems to be a good candidate. Earl, you got some homework to do, brother. Because for me, if you're gonna get out, to me, to be fair and to be smart about it, I understand your personal feelings, but this is bigger than your personal feelings. We're talking about, we're talking about the number one law enforcement official in Hamilton County, Earl. Don't you think that the people deserve?
Let me.
Can I get it all out?
Right, they did. But let me ask you this.
But before you ask me, let me get it all out, Earl. Don't you think that the people deserve for you to have done your homework before you come out here and start giving endorsements or trying to sway the Hamilton County Sheriff's election or race? Don't you think that would be just fair to black people?
No, it wouldn't be. And I tell you why. In terms of doing my homework, no, I haven't listened to her, but I have listened to him. And I did tell you that, right? But my point being is this. He seems to me, in all honesty, that he's in line with what we really need in terms of the direction we need to go in Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. He seems to be the go-to person.
Except
he's
on diversity.
Be the one that's going to. He's going to wait 1 second. He's going to be the one that's going to be the most stable. Okay, he's the one that's going to have the administrative experience. He's the one that's going to be the leader. He is going to be the one that's really going to help the employees at Hamilton County Sheriff's Office move in the direction that we need to go. You need to have somebody here that's really going to make people happy about coming to work. If they're happy about coming to work, somebody that's going to be willing to train these people, somebody that's really going to want to get out there and serve the citizens of Hamilton County. All right, that's all I'm looking for. That's all I'm concerned with. That's a person that's going to get my attention right there.
Again, I really should be having this conversation with Bruce Hoffbauer, but he hasn't been man enough to come on and answer these questions the way you did. Again, that burns me up that you're here talking about this and not him. He's the candidate. But I hear you, Earl. Listen, man, thank you so much for your time, brother. I mean, it's been quite interesting. Believe me, it really has been. We're going to process this. And like I said, brother, what I say to you, man, at the very least, we as black voters in Hamilton County deserve for you, if you're going to allow yourself to be in some kind of political campaign, to have done your homework, to listen to what these people, Charmaine McGuffey and Bruce Hoffbauer, are both saying they're going to do. I think that's the real test that we deserve, rather than your personal experiences, where you kind of show, some kind of wishy-washy morals. You know what I'm saying?
Because I can't put up with wrongness, Nathan. My point being is that people don't show their true colors until later on in their career. I found that out. And it hurts me, okay? It really, really does. Because there's things that I find out later, and then it makes me back up and say, well, wait, what is this person really, really about? And so my point being, I always tell people, don't drink the Kool-Aid, okay? Watch out for people. Don't be fooled. Don't be bamboozled by con artists. And people use tactics, Nathan, to actually fool you. And I'm just here to tell you. And be honest with you, there's some things that I didn't know about her back then that I found out later when she got in a position of power. And my point being is that we need stability. That's all I'm talking about, Nathan. We need stability within the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office for the future. That's what we need. And so my point being,
so are you endorsing Bruce Hoffbauer this morning? Is this an official endorsement?
Yeah, I'm endorsing it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm endorsing him. And I'll tell you why, because he's got stability. And that's what I'm talking about.
She's
trying to act like she's down with the blacks. She's trying to act like she's down with the blacks. She called you and she called some other radio stations. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. She is not down with blacks. Okay?
Bruce Hoffbauer won't even call us.
Well, he's going to have to call you, okay?
He won't even call us.
He's going to have to call you.
Well, he's not about down with the blacks. At least she called to the show and answer every question. The softball
But that
questions, if
doesn't
there are
mean,
any.
but that doesn't mean she's supportive of black.
It
But that
means
doesn't mean
that
she's
at the
supportive
very
of black
least,
folks.
she's willing to get on the line and respect the platform where black people are here. Bruce Hoffbauer hasn't even done that. He hasn't even done that.
I got you.
And that's simple,
I got
like you're doing. Like I said, it burns
let's see
me
if
up
we
that
can-
I'm talking to you and not him because he's the
well,
candidate,
Nathan,
not
let's
you.
see.
But thank you for this. I'm sorry,
Let's
go
see if
right
he's
ahead. I'm
gonna
going to let
do
you
it.
finish.
Okay, let's see if he's going to do it, okay?
Well, I mean, if he does, he does. I mean, he's the one running. I'm not running. It's just a platform to connect with Hamilton County voters.
Hey, and
But
I'm
again,
I'm not either.
So again, you're telling
not
us that
either.
you've had no conversations with the Bruce Hoffbauer campaign. The Bruce Hoffbauer campaign did not say, "Hey,
No,
listen, you
I
should
have
call
not.
Nate."
No, I haven't. Seriously, I have not. I have not.
You have not what?
I have nothing to gain by that. I have not had any conversation with the Bruce Hoffbauer campaign. I don't know who these people are, but I just told you that they took a photo with myself and Bruce and there was a couple other people who were around the courthouse and he saw me and he said, "Hey, Bryce," and then so hey, you want to take some photos with me? I said, "Yeah, sure, no problem at all."
Okay.
And just simple as that.
All right.
Okay? That's how it went down.
Hey, Earl,
Okay?
thank you for your time this morning, man. I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Yeah, most deaf. That's Earl Price this morning. Appreciate it. It went longer than I thought it was going to go. I only thought about maybe 30 minutes, but, it's just some things we had to unpack here. And I wanted to give him as much time to speak his mind, but I wanted to make very sure that he understood exactly how I looked at it, how I look at it, whether I'm right, wrong, or whatever. That is what it is. I mean, like I said, I used to play ball almost 2-3 times a week. You're going to get elbows sometime. Anytime you're being physical with another human being, you're going to catch one. It is what it is. I done been elbowed and hard fouled and all. Now in the basketball arena, do hard foul you go back down, you hard foul him. Now it's all even. I get it, but bringing something that happened in 2005, 2006 up in 2020, here we are, 14 years later, it just seems weak. And I wasn't shy about sharing that with him. Like, you said you worked it out and it was over with. So was it really over with? I mean, think about what the man was saying. Was it really over with? And I'm not here to challenge his viewpoint because he was there. If that's what he said happened and that's the way he sees it, then that's what happened and that's the way he sees it. But there were some clues here and there that can give us some insights into who he is as a man and then how we should judge it. That question, the answer about him not even paying attention to anything that's happening right now is not acceptable. It ain't acceptable. You know what I'm saying? This is a huge race. At the very least, we black voters deserve for you to be educated about what these candidates are alleging, what they're saying they're going to do. And here you are saying that diversity is still an issue. We're not there. Bruce Hoffbauer said, "Hey, we checking off blocks, man. Yeah, this represents growth. You satisfied with this? Come on now." So again, you the people have to make your own decision. I'm getting several calls in right now. If you're on the line, please stick with me. Let's go straight to the lines this morning and say good morning and welcome to the show.
What's up, Nate?
What up, brother?
This the minister.
I know. What's up, minister?
Excuse my language, but what the hell was that? I'm fucking pissed. As a 27-year-old black, are you freaking kidding me? I am getting rerouted back to Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm in Louisville, and I told my dispatcher, let me do some runs around Ohio so I can damn vote. Are you freaking kidding me? I'm serious. And he's a black man? Oh, I don't endorse Bruce Hoffbauer. I mean, early in the show, he said that he didn't. Now he's saying that he do? So you obviously, man, tell me, like you said, Nate, is that he needs to do his damn homework, because at the same time is that, like, you support Bruce, really support police brutality. That's what he's telling me. And then he's coming around saying this stuff happened in 2004. It sounds like he, excuse my crybaby BS. I don't want to say it. 2004, oh, he hit me in the jaw. She's 5'7", he's 6, what, he says 6'1"?
6'1", yeah.
You a grown man. a grown man, and you sitting here crying and crying and stuff. Yeah, Bruce Hoffmeyer to go on the show because he don't want. Bruce Hoffmeyer is weak as hell. I tell you that he's weak as hell for doing that. Let me send one of my minions to go on Nathan Ivey Show and tell him the truth. Tell the real. Back me up, man. Back me up. That's what he basically saying. Are you freaking like? Are you freaking? And then he said about like I just got off of this is that like the Jim Neal. Like, are you kidding? Jim Neal's a really good man. And then you go around Jim Neal's house and he support Trump. He got Trump flyers in his yard. And you saying you a black man? Are you freaking kidding me? Man, I mean, I love it when what's her name, Donnie B. I love her talk about this on her show. I love this, but she's about to eat this ass up. Let him. I want him. I mean, he. The simple fact of the matter is, Nate, is that this is how I look at it as a culture now. Like, I mean, like he wanted. Oh, I was raised in the hood, but then, like you said, he kept his mouth shut so he could become what he said, general. Right? He kept his mouth shut, basically, and then she ain't. I don't find her as a leader. I don't find her as a leader at all. I don't. I feel that she. But so you're gonna trump her over it. You know what I mean? What sense do this make? That his stuff didn't make any sense. And then you said, Nate, you went super hard. You went super hard on him, and that's what I like. This is what I love about your show. You went super hard. He would think it was about to be he thought it was gonna be some softball like soft question. No, you went hard at him, and he didn't know how to take it, and it made him look silly because I don't know anything about her campaign. I don't know. But then you sit here and say, oh yeah, but I went to her parties and stuff like that, and you still having a grudge over her. Like you having a grudge over her since 2004, and y'all was doing training, but then at the same time, she had a arm and stuff like that. She was armed on had her gun and stuff like that, and she got knocked out. And the thing is that she didn't try to kill the man. Well, what sense does this make? What sense does this make, dude? What's his name again, Nate?
The man who just on that was Earl Price.
Earl Price. Yeah. So, but he think Bruce Hoffmeyer is we need stability, and he think that it's really diverse in Hamilton County. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, come on now. You think it's real stable there? He need a stable person. No, I know who I'm voting for. Thank you, woman, for what's her name? Charlamagne McGuffey. Yeah, I know who I'm voting for this because the same time is that she had all the hardball questions and he wanted to play let's play T-ball. That's what it was. That's what it was. He wanted to play T-ball. And you played baseball, hardball, no, and he couldn't come up with the damn questions. Are you fucking kidding me? Nate, I'm out. I'm fucking pissed. I'm out.
Thank you for remember the kids. Although I think at this point the kids are in school. We got a call from a private number. I'm sorry, I'm a one-man operation at this particular point, so just running two lines, a hold line and an on-air line. So sometimes you can hear like a beeping in the line, so that's why I was stopping it. But if you want to call back in, please feel free to do so. Again, I want to have a conversation. We can have a conversation here right now. Here we're getting a line. This is from a private number, so let's see what this is. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
I'm calling in reference to the last person who called.
Okay. Hey, brother, what's your name?
I don't even want to give my name. Is that cool?
Oh, that's fine. You don't have to give your name, but you might want to turn us down in the background because I can hear the feedback from you listening to the show.
I worked in corrections for the state of Ohio for many, many years as a supervisor, and also in reference to working in the upper management too. And I was listening to this guy who's is a major, and he's in charge of recruiting. Somewhat what he said. One of the things he needs to realize is, I guess, that, as a recruiter, you're supposed to go out to the communities and get to people. And whether they're white, black, you just want to hire the best of the best. But it is supposed to be a direct reflection of the population within the community that you live, which is not. I actually have worked for the state, and I've taught many corrections officers, whether it was for gang activity, whether it was for mental health. And one of the things that the departments of corrections, whether it's city, state, they're trying to do more mental health. And when you talk about one of the things that you learn before you become a police officer is how to use your IPC skills. And that's interpersonal communication, where you learn how to deal with people. And if you don't know how to deal with people from a certain community, that's where the problem lies, because you hire so many people. It's just like taking somebody from Indian Hills and saying, we're going to go put you as a patrolman in Lincoln Heights, when you have no idea how that community works. I was a little disappointed in his answers. I also have extensive skills in interviewing and hostage negotiating, different things like that. And I listened to him when you asked him questions, and not one time did he answer the question. As if there's two types of questions that you ask. You ask an open-ended and closed-ended question, which requires a yes or no. For a closed-end, and open-ended requires an explanation. If he was in court, they would kill him in court because of his explanation of everything, which didn't even need an explanation. It was simple yes or no. But I appreciate what you're doing. This is my first time ever seeing your show, and I really appreciate what you're doing. And it's been the best, one of the best things that you guys have going right now, because not only do we need to be concerned with everybody, I said that wrong. We need to be more concerned with a lot of things that's going on in the world today, because as a community, a race, a people, we are so far behind. And I'm saying this because we are more reactive than proactive. We must become more proactive in what we demand and what we want for our people. Now, we're at our age where we are now, we're living for our children. So we have to represent our children and teach them the way that they need to be in order for them to become better leaders. And we don't. So not only will I be hard on him, the major or whatever he is, and for him to be in that position, and it's just like some people saying, well, I have black friends. He sounds like one of those people who say, I have black friends, when you say, well, I got 1, 2, or 3 people that I'm going to put in this position. That's not it. And don't say people don't want to work. They just don't want to deal with the politics that go with it. Having them sign off on something that they shouldn't sign off on. And then if they don't, you hold it against them. So now I'm 20, 25 years as a correction officer when I should have been promoted to a lieutenant, a major, a captain, a whatever it may be. And that's what we go through as a people. And I'm telling you, because if you think that it's bad with police brutality on the streets, be somebody with no rights in a penal system, whether it's city, state, county, or federal. You're in trouble. And a lot of people don't realize that. And I don't say what my name is because I don't do it anymore. I left my job because of situations like this. I left it. I didn't leave it because they ran me out. I left it because it wasn't worth it. And people know how you are. They know how you are genuine or whether you're not genuine. And for him to say what he was saying, it sounded like it was a script. I don't know either one of them who's going to be the sheriff. I don't know either one of them. But sometimes people look at it, well, let's vote for the lesser of the evils. It's not the lesser of the evils. Let's just vote for the one who's going to give a better benefit, if that makes sense.
Well, brother, thanks for the call. I appreciate you.
You got it.
Yeah, most def. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, if you don't want to use your name, you don't have to. Said he came across the show for the first time. Well, we go live via Facebook and YouTube at 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. We talk about black people, black politics, black pleasure. I'm currently based in Greater Cincinnati, which was in Hamilton County. So any of that stuff happening with the election, as it crosses my radar screen, I'm with it. And like I told you, family, it burned me up. You know, y'all know I reached out to Bruce Hoffbauer from the jump. As soon as that information came across my lap, I shared it with you. I'm like, wait a minute, we got to hear the story. And he dinked and dodged, drowned, and did all this kind of stuff. Finally caught up with him face to face, virtually speaking, at the NAACP Prince Hall Masons. And basically he told me, my show was too small for him to come on. He just don't know. He just don't know. He has no idea, but that's okay. In that forum, I got him to say that he would come on the show. Now, I just haven't reached out to him because, I mean, I don't need to, you know, other than just for the people. I mean, this is an opportunity for candidates. You ain't doing me a favor by coming on. We're doing you a favor by letting you get here, you know, in front of this particular audience, which I will say again. These are not just voters. These are influencers. I cannot understate that enough. These are influencers. Many of the folks in this room, in the chop shop, don't just vote. They are highly organized and participating in politics on various levels inside of Cincinnati and Hamilton County, elected officials as well. So you come on or don't come on, I'm going to do me. It's always stuff to talk about here. I'll say it again. Sin Digital Media is the home of the most unfiltered black voices in Cincinnati and perhaps beyond as we get started here with this new platform. You can find us on Facebook. Please subscribe to our videos and you'll see what we have to offer in the near future. And again, I'll be live with you again tomorrow at 7:30 a.m. I wish I could go through all the comments. I really do. I just don't have the time. I'm way over my time this morning, so I got to make a move for several reasons. Don't forget that Midday Juice is coming up today at 1 p.m. It's Midday Juice at 1 p.m. today with Ask Ashley. You can find it on our Sin Digital Media feed. Have an excellent rest of your day, family. And you know, we'll be talking real soon. So I'll probably do a couple things. I'm going to cut this video and audio so that the interview with Mr. Price is its own podcast so people can consume it and make their own decision, decide for themselves. And then who knows? I'm definitely going to talk about this some more tomorrow as we break down, you know, what he had to say. I'm glad he came on. I believe I was fair to the man to allow him to get it in. But I also think I was fair to myself in terms of conveying, you know, exactly how I feel about the whole 9 yards. And I'll say it again, you know, I have far more respect for Bruce Hoffbauer if he was man enough to come on the show himself, as opposed to, and again, I know Mr. Price won't like this, sending the black guy, you know, to speak for you. Hoffbauer is the candidate. Mr. Price just has a professional relationship with insights that I thought was valuable this morning. And I think he gave us a better sense of where he's coming from. We'll put it that way. But listen, family, have an excellent rest of your day. All right, we'll catch up real soon. Shout out to Team NI. Shout out to the Choppers. Viva la Choppers. Thank you for being here. Please like and in particular share this show and let people know that this interview is a part of it. We got started about 2 hours into it. So it was 9:30 into it. Yeah. Have an excellent rest of your day, family. I'm Nathan Ivey, and I'm out.